Chapter 1267. The spiritual race was in the center of the Xiling Zone, while Zhao Hui's life origin sect was on the outskirts. Last time, when Zhao Feng traveled from the life origin sect to the spiritual race, he had to use teleportation arrays for more than half a year. But now, Zhao Feng possessed extraordinary strength. If he used instant movement, he would be able to travel at least half that time. He also had the token of a core disciple of the spiritual race, so he could use the teleportation arrays of any faction on the way. Moreover, when Zhao Feng passed through these factions, the upper echelon members of these factions would even come out to greet him. The status of a core disciple of the spiritual race is still very useful. Zhao Feng sighed. When he was fleeing from the Gulong Zone, he couldn't use the teleportation arrays of any of the major factions. Because he was being pursued, he had to fly most of the time. At a certain moment, a massive mountain more than 1,000 zhang tall appeared in his vision, piercing into the sea of clouds and covering an area of tens of thousands of li. As Zhao Feng passed through this mountain, a heaven-shaking energy exploded from the sea of clouds in front of him. Oh no! Zhao Feng's eyes suddenly focused forward as he began to retreat. Boom! At this moment, a wave of space-intent energy surged in the surroundings. Violet curtains of night appeared all around him. These curtains of night were filled with dark clouds, a violet moon, and countless stars. In the end, all these curtains of night connected together, imprisoning everything within a radius of tens of thousands of li. The entire world seemed to become a violet night, completely cut off from the outside world. Junior, you're finally willing to come out. Ancient god Night Dragon's figure slowly emerged from the violet curtains of night. Swish! Zhao Feng immediately put on the space-time robe. Don't waste your energy. This illusion space violet domain array was prepared especially for you. If you were a little stronger, you might be able to use the power of the space-time robe to leave. Ancient god Night Dragon savagely laughed. Zhao Feng was a rank 6 true god, had the space-time robe, and had the 5-colored crystalline palace. Moreover, he had obtained the approval of the spiritual race. If the spiritual race gave Zhao Feng a few more life-saving trump cards, not even Ancient God Night Dragon was confident that he could quickly kill Zhao Feng. That was why he had set up this powerful formation before Zhao Feng. Inside the illusory space violet domain formation, even his own space Upanishad was limited. Who said I wanted to leave this place? Zhao Feng put on the space-time robe and smiled at Ancient God Night Dragon without using any of his energy. If I didn't deliberately slow down so that your people could keep up with me and travel in a straight line, would you have been able to catch up to me and have time to set up this formation? Zhao Feng pointed everything out. After the god's spiritual eye evolved, his vision had greatly increased. As soon as he had left the spirit race, he had already sensed that the Violet Knight clan was following him. Zhao Feng had fallen into his enemy's trap with only one goal in mind: kill the ancient god that had pursued him back then. I naturally know this, but do you really think that just because you've become a rank 6 true god and have so many treasures and divine artifacts, you're a match for me? Ancient God Knight Dragon heartily laughed. He had also sensed that Zhao Feng's path was a little too straight, as if he was doing it on purpose. But as an ancient god, did he really need to fear a rank 6 true god? But even if the spiritual race had given Zhao Feng some life-saving trump cards, he wouldn't lose anything even if he couldn't kill Zhao Feng. And once he killed Zhao Feng, he would obtain all the treasures on Zhao Feng's body. How do you know if you don't try? Zhao Feng's smile was rather crafty. Ancient God Knight Dragon jeered. Boom! Ancient God Knight Dragon activated his bloodline, transforming his body into a violet liquid that fused with the darkness around him. Zhao Feng instantly sensed a boundless pressure around him. At the same time, the stars, the violet moon, and the dark clouds began to revolve around him in a strange pattern. Illusion Dao energy. Zhao Feng's left eye exuded a powerful eye intent that allowed him to maintain his clarity of mind. This kid's eye bloodline is truly extraordinary. It actually allows him to ignore the illusion Tao energy of the illusion space violet domain array. Ancient God Knight Dragon was rather astonished. The illusion space violet domain array had three major uses. First, it isolated the outside world and forbade the opponent from using space intent. Second, it made it very difficult for people of the same level to resist the illusion Tao energy. Third, it could strengthen the bloodline power of the Violet Knight race. Swish, swish. In the violet curtain of night, two liquefied figures flashing with violet light suddenly leaped out. As these figures flickered, they charged at Zhao Feng with frightening power. 5 elements tribulation lightning domain. Zhao Feng's body immediately exploded with dazzling 5-colored lightning energy. A 5-colored lightning domain began to sweep out, with Zhao Feng at its center. The moment the two violet figures entered the 5 elements tribulation lightning domain, they were immediately suppressed by the 5 elements tribulation lightning energy. Swish! Ancient God Knight Dragon's attack was weakened by more than 20%. This kid's not bad. Ancient God Knight Dragon was rather surprised. There was still a very large gap between a rank 6 True God and a rank 7 Ancient God. Moreover, the bloodline of the Violet Knight race would be strengthened in the Illusion Space Violet Domain Array. This meant that Ancient God Knight Dragon's fighting power was far above normal. But Zhao Feng's combat skills were still able to weaken his attack. Appear. A 5-colored crystal pearl appeared in Zhao Feng's hand. Suddenly, the 5-colored crystal bead floated up and rotated for a while before turning into a huge 5-colored crystal palace that blocked the remaining power of the attack. Haha, I was just waiting for you to take it out. Ancient God Knight Dragon gave a sinister smile. The 5-colored palace on Zhao Feng's body was an absolute defensive divine artifact. Even Ancient God Knight Dragon would find it very difficult to break through. Whoosh! On the other side of the palace, Ancient God Knight Dragon's real body suddenly emerged. He gripped the violet crystal feather fan in his hand and waved it, wreathed in violet light. Swish! Swish! Streaks of purple light that were as thin as silk shot toward Zhao Feng with lightning-fast speed. I was waiting for you to show yourself. Zhao Feng suddenly sneered, his left eye erupting with supreme eye intent. Swish! A purple-silver lightning flame appeared in his dreamy silver eye. The dreadful tribulation lightning energy immediately made Ancient God Knight Dragon realize that something was wrong. Cackrack! A moment later, the purple-silver tribulation lightning flame exploded on Ancient God Knight Dragon's soul. What a powerful soul attack! Ancient God Knight Dragon hissed, feeling that something was wrong. Right at this moment, he suddenly smelled a majestic force. Ancient God. These words suddenly appeared in Ancient God Knight Dragon's mind. At this moment, Zhao Feng was no longer trying to conceal his strength. Ding! Bang bang! Weakened by the space-time robe, Ancient God Knight Dragon's attack struck Zhao Feng's body, sending off several bolts of lightning. 5 elements tribulation lightning palm. After taking on Ancient God Knight Dragon's attack, Zhao Feng circulated the invisible tribulation lightning energy and fused it with his physical strength, unleashing a massive palm of 5-colored lightning. What a powerful attack! This is no weaker than an ordinary Ancient God. Ancient God Knight Dragon awoke from the pain in his soul, his face twisted in shock. Violet Void. Ancient God Knight Dragon circulated his bloodline energy, and layers of flickering violet light appeared around his body. At this moment, Ancient God Knight Dragon was forced to use all his strength against Zhao Feng's frontal attack. God Eye Disintegration. Zhao Feng's left eye surged with ripples of eye intent. In a flash of dreamy light, a dreamy mist emerged. At this moment, the layers of violet light in front of Ancient God Knight Dragon suddenly dimmed until they vanished. How could this be? Ancient God Knight Dragon's face was filled with fear and disbelief. The power contained in the defensive bloodline's secret skill he had unleashed had actually disappeared all of a sudden. Boom! The 5-colored palm of lightning was unimpeded, carrying with it a tribulation lightning physical strength that could shake gods and ghosts alike as it rumbled forward. Within the illusion space violet domain array, ancient god night dragon space intent was also partially restricted. He knew that he could not dodge this attack, so he took out a high-quality defensive divine artifact. Bang! Ancient god night dragon put all his strength into this high-quality defensive divine artifact. High-quality defensive divine artifact. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed. Based on what he could see with his god eye, this high-quality defensive divine artifact wasn't very high quality, only barely entering the threshold of high quality. God eye. Disintegration. Zhao Feng's left eye focused on the high-quality defensive divine artifact. Bzzz. A dreamy mist flickered out. The glow of the high-quality divine artifact in ancient god night dragon's hand suddenly dimmed. This what's going on here? Ancient god night dragon's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. The defensive bloodline skill he had just used had inexplicably lost some of its energy. Right now, the power of the high-grade defensive god artifact in his hand was constantly declining. Rumble. Swish. But there was no time for him to be shocked. Zhao Feng's attack had already struck his defensive divine artifact. But even if the high-quality divine artifact was weakened, it would still have no problem blocking Zhao Feng's attack. God Eye. Disintegration. Zhao Feng focused the energy of the God Eye disintegration on a certain crucial spot on the divine artifact. The disintegration energy immediately engulfed the divine artifact. Swish! A tiny crack appeared on the high-quality divine artifact. Immediately, the power of the 5 elements tribulation lightning palm rushed towards the weak spot. The combination of the two dealt a destructive blow to the divine artifact, almost causing its quality to drop to intermediate quality. Boom! Bang! The remaining power of Zhao Feng's attack slammed into ancient god night dragon's body, pushing him to the edge of the illusion space violet domain array. Heaven engulfing palm. 5 elements tribulation lightning palm. Zhao Feng pursued, not giving ancient god night dragon any chance to catch his breath. Damn, this brat is so strange. Ancient god night dragon's violet body was extremely dim. This time he had failed. He was no match for Zhao Feng. The primary reason was that Zhao Feng actually had an ancient god cultivation, and his eye bloodline was terrifyingly powerful and bizarre. But he should be here soon. This brat will still die. Ancient god night dragon coldly snorted. Swish! Ancient god night dragon withdrew from the array and prepared to flee. If Zhao Feng caught up, he would only die even faster. Where do you think you're going? Zhao Feng coldly bellowed. His left eye once more began to turn, and a supreme eye intent accompanied by supreme space-time intent began to spread. Space-time seal. A space-time intent that was both real and illusory descended on ancient god night dragon's body. This is space-time. Intent power. Ancient god night dragon blurted out in shock. However, in the ears of others, his words sounded extremely slow, as if he was a baby learning how to speak. Zhao Feng had long ago begun to cultivate the space-time seal, but because it was too difficult, the previous Zhao Feng was unable to use the power of this technique. Now that he was an ancient god, the situation was different. At this moment, ancient god night dragon was not only unable to use space intent, he was also restrained by time intent. It was like he was in a world of slow motion, completely at the mercy of Zhao Feng. Chapter 1268. Ancient god night dragon's space-time eye bloodline technique placed him in a slow-motion world. Even his thoughts became extremely slow. Moreover, this was a single-target eye bloodline technique. No matter where ancient god night dragon fled to, the eye bloodline technique's effects would remain. However, ancient god night dragon was still a rank 7 ancient god, and he was also skilled in space intent, so he had a certain level of resistance. On the other hand, Zhao Feng's eye bloodline technique had just been completed, so it was hard for it to have a long-term effect. 5 elements thunder calamity palm. Without saying a word, Zhao Feng circulated the five elements tribulation, lightning, divine power, fused it with his physical strength, and swiftly launched several lightning palms. Damn, this kid obtained the space-time robe, comprehended space-time intent, and even learned space-time eye bloodline techniques. Ancient God Night Dragon could only watch as Zhao Feng's attack descended, but he had no way of dodging. Even if he used a defensive skill, it would be too late. Helpless, he could only take out the damaged defensive god artifact to block the attack. Boom! Ancient God Night Dragon's body was thrown several li away. The huge mountain peak, which was covered in rocks and soil, was instantly flattened. I've recovered quite a bit. Ancient God Night Dragon sensed that the space-time energy around him was rapidly weakening. However, his injuries were extremely severe, and he had to leave as soon as possible. Whoosh! Zhao Feng waved his left hand, summoning a pitch-black man with dragon scales. Kill him, Zhao Feng said coldly. Hee, a heavily injured ancient god. The black destruction serpent dragon licked its lips and revealed a bloodthirsty expression. Recently, he had been in the space-time robe dimension doing all he could to recover his strength. It had been many years since he had last seen blood. The bloodline of the destruction dragon race was bloodline that loved to kill and destroy. The days of seclusion were somewhat difficult for the black destruction serpent dragon to endure. Boom! Demonic flames surged around the black destruction serpent dragon's body, and it radiated a terrifying aura that could destroy all life. The area around him was filled with an aura of destruction and disaster. At this moment, the black destruction serpent dragon had recovered its cultivation to rank 6. Destruction dragon race. Ancient God Night Dragon spat out in shock. His purple night race bloodline trembled in front of the black destruction serpent dragon's thin bloodline and was suppressed to a certain degree. In the blink of an eye, the black destruction serpent dragon and Zhao Feng arrived in front of him. World-destroying dragon blast. The black destruction serpent dragon condensed a scarlet-black flame claw on its head and lashed out. Tribulation lightning eye flame. Zhao Feng's ability to injure the black destruction serpent dragon in the physical dimension was perhaps inferior to the black destruction serpent dragon, so he directly attacked ancient God Night Dragon's soul. Boom! A ball of lightning and fire completely engulfed ancient God Night Dragon. At this moment, the space-time seal on ancient God Night Dragon's body had completely vanished. However, his current injuries were unprecedentedly severe, and he was on the verge of death. Die. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon saw that ancient God Night Dragon wanted to resist, so it used all its bloodline energy to suppress him while unleashing a destructive attack. Zhao Feng was also constantly destroying ancient God Night Dragon's soul. Ancient God Night Dragon gave a shrill scream as his tattered body was engulfed in black flames and lightning. Die. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, wreathed in destructive draconic flames, lashed out with its claw. Boom! Ancient God Night Dragon's body and soul were completely destroyed, turning into dust that drifted away. I've finally killed you. A sharp light flashed through Zhao Feng's eyes. 25 years ago, when he escaped from the pursuit of these two ancient gods, he had made up his mind to wash away the humiliation he had suffered. Today, one of these ancient gods finally died at his hand. An expert is approaching. At this moment, Zhao Feng and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon suddenly sensed another powerful energy rapidly approaching. So it's him. Zhao Feng's eyes were cold and sharp. Whoosh! The newcomers were none other than ancient God Black Heaven and the other two true gods of Violet Night Hall. That's ancient God Black Heaven's expression instantly darkened. Nearby, ancient God Night Dragon's body was reduced to dust that slowly dissipated into the air. Senior Night Dragon. The two true gods of Violet Night Hall screamed in fear. They had never expected that in this pursuit mission, ancient God Night Dragon would die at the hands of the hunted. Wasn't Zhao Feng just a rank 6 true god? happened to be a rank 7 ancient god with the ability to kill someone of the same level. You've been chasing me this entire time because you want this thing, right? Zhao Feng stared at ancient god Black Heaven, a triangular piece of metal appearing in his hand. In the past, in order to escape ancient god Black Heaven's pursuit, Zhao Feng had used the god sealing stone to completely seal away this triangular piece of metal. But now he had taken out such an item in front of ancient god Black Heaven. The moment he saw this item, ancient god Black Heaven's body trembled, his eyes completely focused on the triangular piece of metal, as if he completely ignored Zhao Feng's existence. Just what sort of secret is inside this thing? Zhao Feng and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon couldn't help but begin to examine this piece of metal. For an ancient god to be so excited and relentlessly pursue it for decades, this triangular piece of metal was definitely not as simple as it seemed on the surface. Zhao Feng, give this item to me, and in the future, Ancient Soul Hall will no longer make trouble for you. Ancient God Black Heaven took in a deep breath, calmed his complex emotions, and then looked straight at Zhao Feng. In the past, he would have immediately attacked, not wasting words with Zhao Feng. But just a moment ago, Ancient God Night Dragon had died at Zhao Feng's hands, forcing him to re-evaluate his view of Zhao Feng. In a battle between two people of the same level, it was very difficult to kill one another. But Zhao Feng had only just become an ancient god, yet he was able to kill an ancient god of the Violet Knight race. Moreover, next to Zhao Feng was a Black Destruction Serpent Dragon with the bloodline of the Destruction Dragon race. Although he had 2 rank 5 true gods of Violet Knight Hall with him, they were useless. If they were to fight, Ancient God Black Heaven would definitely be at a disadvantage. Did I say that I would let you go? Zhao Feng couldn't help but sneer. He didn't care if Ancient Soul Hall let Zhao Feng go or not, but Zhao Feng knew that Ancient God Black Heaven wouldn't be let go. Ancient God Black Heaven wanted to threaten him. However, Zhao Feng was now a core disciple of the spiritual race, a genius who had directly become a rank 6 true god, and he had even broken into the ancient god level in just 1 short year. If Ancient Soul Hall wanted to attack Zhao Feng, the spiritual race would definitely not let it go. You will regret this, Black Heaven coldly said, and then he turned to leave. Senior Black Heaven. The 2 true gods of Violet Knight Hall saw that Ancient God Black Heaven was preparing to leave and immediately called out. Even Ancient God Night Dragon had been killed by Zhao Feng, so the 2 of them were no match for Zhao Feng. Thus, they hoped that Ancient God Black Heaven could take them out of this place. Seeking death. Ancient God Black Heaven's face twisted as he angrily roared. He was in a bad mood, and these 2 true gods still dared to bother him? Swoosh! A dark violet light exploded from Ancient God Black Heaven's claws, tearing the bodies and souls of the 2 true gods to shreds. After casually killing these 2, Ancient God Black Heaven took his leave. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon gave a smug smile. It had already recovered to its peak, and the fact that it had killed an ancient god the moment it came out was far too satisfying. I'll spare his life this time. Zhao Feng grunted. He wanted to kill Ancient God Black Heaven more than Ancient God Night Dragon. However, Ancient God Black Heaven was far stronger than Ancient God Night Dragon. Moreover, he had just been through a major battle and was somewhat exhausted. Even if he worked together with the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, he wasn't confident that he could kill Ancient God Black Heaven, unless he used the power of the Blood Flame Qilin race. But this was no guarantee. After all, the Blood Flame Qilin race had only agreed to serve Zhao Feng and not harm Zhao Feng. But once they left Zhao Feng's control, they were completely capable of revealing Zhao Feng's secret and having others kill Zhao Feng. Spare his life. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was stunned. It knew that with the help of the Blood Flame Qilin race, Zhao Feng could easily kill Ancient God Black Heaven. His future is immeasurable. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon mentally sighed. In the past, Zhao Feng had been nothing but an ant in its eyes, but now Even if it recovered to its peak strength, it would still be no match for Zhao Feng. After dealing with the Black Destruction, Serpent Dragon, and the Space-Time Robe, Zhao Feng continued on his way. This time, he used instant movement to travel at full speed. After more than 2 months, he finally arrived at the Life Origin Sect. Zhao Feng, wearing a white cloak, entered the Life Origin Sect. Who goes there? Several guards immediately stopped Zhao Feng. Swish! Zhao Feng took out the token of a core disciple of the spiritual race. This one was blind and did not know that Good Sir was a core disciple of the spiritual race. Please forgive me. All the guards in front of Zhao Feng got down on their knees. Although the Life Origin Sect was a peak 4-star faction, it was under the jurisdiction of the spiritual race. Even the core disciples of the Life Origin Sect had to be respectful to the core disciples of the spiritual race. So these guards were even more so. For what matter has Good Sir come to the Life Origin Sect? A guard took the initiative to ask. I'm looking for you, Bingsheng. Zhao Feng coldly replied. Zhao Feng followed the guard into the Life Origin Sect. It didn't take long for the guard to lead Zhao Feng to Elder Yu Bingsheng's residence. Good sir, this is Elder Yu's residence. I will help you send a message. The guard said with a fawning smile. There's no need. You can leave for now. Zhao Feng flatly said. Once the guard left, Zhao Feng stepped forward. Bang! Zhao Feng pushed open the door. Who dares to trespass on an elder's residence? A furious roar resounded from the depths of the palace. With a flash of light, Yu Bingsheng appeared in front of Zhao Feng. It's you. Yu Bingsheng was incomparably shocked. His eyes turned, and his entire body exuded an oppressive aura. No matter who you are, trespassing on an elder's residence is a grave crime. Today, I will personally punish you. Yu Bingsheng declared righteously. He had not expected that Zhao Feng would return. It seemed that he had failed in wooing Zhao Yufei and had returned to the Life Origin Sect to seek refuge with him. But how could Yu Bingsheng allow Zhao Feng to ruin his plans? Thus, he turned hostile and prepared to kill Zhao Feng. Elder Yu truly has a good memory, forgetting this Zhao so quickly. Zhao Feng did not move, but the aura of the divine stages in his body slowly spread out. Chapter 1269. Elder Yu coldly stared at Zhao Feng, his aura sweeping forward in a crushing wave. At this moment, Zhao Feng's body also began to surge with energy. Rank 6 True God. At this moment, Elder Yu could clearly sense Zhao Feng's cultivation level. But how is this possible? When Zhao Feng first came to the Life Origin Sect, he was just a quasi-god. How could he become a rank 6 True God? Zhao Feng, could you be? Elder Yu seemed to think of something, and his face twisted in shock. When Zhao Feng brought Han Ning here, Elder Yu had only heard Han Ning mention Zhao Feng's name once or twice. Back then, Zhao Feng had been so insignificant that Elder Yu had never imagined that he would meet Zhao Feng again. He couldn't even be bothered to remember his name. After sending off Zhao Feng, Elder Yu remained in seclusion, busying himself with his own matters. However, he would occasionally hear some news about the genius Zhao Feng. At the time, Elder Yu had no idea that this genius Zhao Feng was the worker disciple he had sent to the spiritual race. But now that Zhao Feng had displayed the cultivation of a rank 6 True God, how could he not understand what was going on? Elder Yu, why are you in such a rush to kill me? Zhao Feng had a relaxed and indifferent expression. I was in seclusion when I was suddenly disturbed. My anger surged, so I acted a little rashly. Brother Zhao, please don't treat me like an outsider. Elder Yu squeezed out an extremely ugly smile. He had no grudge with Zhao Feng, and even though he had wanted to kill him, he had not attacked. And Zhao Feng had only been able to enter the spiritual race because of his help. Thus, Elder Yu believed that Zhao Feng would not do anything to him. I didn't think that this kid's talent would be so terrifying that he could directly attain rank 6 of the heavenly divine realm. Elder Yu felt extremely unbalanced. He was a rank 6 True God, the person with the lowest authority among the elders of the Life Origin Sect. Zhao Feng was also a rank 6 True God, but he was a core disciple of the spiritual race and its most dazzling genius. Even the ordinary elders of the spiritual race would not dare to provoke Zhao Feng. In reality, the Life Origin sect was a faction under the jurisdiction of the Astrals. Thus, even though he was an elder of the Life Origin sect, his status was far inferior to that of Zhao Feng. Where's Han Ning'er? Zhao Feng's expression remained unchanged. She is currently out on a mission. Elder Yu's expression suddenly changed before returning to normal. Why is this brat asking about Han Ning'er the moment he arrived? He is the most dazzling genius of the spirit race. He should be together with Zhao Yufei. Elder Yu was a little flustered. In his view, Zhao Feng was only responsible for escorting Han Ning to the Xiling Zone, so there shouldn't be any relationship between the two. But at this moment, Zhao Feng directly asked Han Ning'er. If Zhao Feng were to find out what he had done to Han Ning'er, Elder Yu would find it hard to imagine what the consequences would be. Elder Yu could only do what he wanted, while Zhao Feng was just casually asking. Thus, he lied and said that Han Ning'er was out on a mission. Elder Yu, you really know how to joke. Isn't she in your residence? Zhao Feng's left I could see through everything and had long ago spotted Han Ning'er, who was trapped in a certain palace. You, how did you know? Elder Yu's face instantly contorted in shock. Zhao Feng's face was cold and gloomy. Without a word, he stepped into the palace. When he left, he had left Zhao Hui behind. Zhao Hui had only just joined the Life Origin sect, but he had been paying attention to the Life Origin sect from the very start. There was no news of the Eye of Life being born in the Life Origin sect. Thus, Zhao Feng had long ago guessed that something was wrong. He had come to the Life Origin sect this time to take Zhao Hui away, but he also wanted to see what Han Ning'er's current situation was. The deepest palace was surrounded by a powerful array that isolated it from the outside world. The divine sense of anyone beneath the ancient god level would find it very difficult to penetrate. Alas, this couldn't stop Zhao Feng's see-through ability. He actually knows? Elder Yu followed behind Zhao Feng, a look of extreme shock on his face. He had been in seclusion for some time now, and no one had entered his residence. How did the news that Han Ning'er was trapped here get out and reach Zhao Feng's ears? Elder Yu couldn't figure it out, no matter how he thought about it. After arriving in front of the sealed palace, Zhao Feng extended a hand. Swish! An earth-shattering power of thunder and lightning blasted out fiercely. Countless bolts of tribulation, lightning bombarded the barrier around the palace. Crack! A crack appeared in the depths of Zhao Feng's palm. Zhao Feng then punched. Bang! The entire barrier transformed into countless crystalline motes of light that vanished into the world. How could this be? No one beneath the ancient god level should be able to break this array. Elder Yu's heart trembled violently when he heard this. Once the array shattered, the palace gate flew open and the green-robed Han Ning'er charged out. Zhao Feng, Han Ning'er didn't know why the array had shattered, and she just wanted to use this chance to leave. However, the first person she saw was Zhao Feng. Han Ning'er's figure froze on the spot, her green eyes misting over. At this moment, Han Ning'er's innocent and amiable face was no longer there. In its place was a haggard and slightly panicked expression. Suddenly, an amiable and soft body threw itself into Zhao Feng's arms. Whether it was because she was in too much pain or because she was too happy, Han Ning'er immediately began to weep. Her crystalline tears soaked Zhao Feng's clothes. What's going on here? Zhao Feng didn't resist and indifferently asked. He kept me trapped there this entire time and tried to persuade me to become his partner. Han Ning'er then recounted everything that had happened after Zhao Feng left. As it turned out, when Zhao Feng left, Elder Yu trapped Han Ning'er here and tried to persuade her to become his cultivation partner. Han Ning'er never agreed, so she never left the palace. In addition, Elder Yu needed a real partner, not a puppet. Thus, he didn't do anything out of line, only constantly tried to persuade her. He didn't want Han Ning'er to hate him too much. This was because once Han Ning'er agreed, her Eye of Life would give her a bright future. At that time, Elder Yu would be able to follow Han Ning'er and climb higher and higher. Brother Zhao, I truly like Han Ning. I didn't do anything to her. Elder Yu saw that there was something wrong with Zhao Feng's expression, so he thickened his skin and explained, if Brother Zhao also likes Han Ning, you can take her with you. If Han Ning goes to the spiritual race, it won't be long before she becomes a powerful expert. Seeing that Elder Yu was very afraid of Zhao Feng, Han Ning wiped away the beads of lightning at the corner of her eyes and left Zhao Feng's firm and warm embrace. Zhao Feng, you met Zhao Yufei? Han Ning directly asked. In her view, Zhao Feng had definitely met Zhao Yufei and obtained an excellent status. Otherwise, why would Elder Yu be so afraid of Zhao Feng? What should we do with him? Zhao Feng nodded and pointed at Elder Yu. At this moment, Han Ning coldly stared at Elder Yu. Elder Yu's expression flickered. Zhao Feng's words made him rather unhappy. He was still an elder of the Life Origin sect, but Zhao Feng acted like he could decide whether he lived or died. Cripple his cultivation, Zhao Feng directly said. He knew that it would be very difficult for Han Ning to kill Elder Yu. Brother Zhao, you were able to enter the spiritual race because of my help. Elder Yu's expression suddenly changed as he immediately said, in the ancient desolate realm of gods, crippling one's cultivation was worse than death. Zhao Feng's expression did not change as he slowly walked toward Elder Yu. Zhao Feng, don't push your luck. Although you're stronger than me, crippling my cultivation is impossible. Moreover, this is the Life Origin sect, and I am an elder of the Life Origin sect. Elder Yu saw that his soft approach was not working, so he immediately became unyielding. You used to be a member of Spirit Grassgate, but instead of helping Han Ning revive Spirit Grassgate, you only care about yourself. Moreover, why don't you look in a mirror and see if you are worthy of her? Zhao Feng had a disdainful expression. Elder Yu saw that Zhao Feng had already made up his mind and could not be changed. Even if I have to leave the Life Origin sect and leave the Xiling Zone, I won't let you cripple my cultivation. Elder Yu's face was filled with determination. With his rank 6 true god cultivation and his status as a doctor, he could go to any 4-star faction in any other zone and live there just fine. Though-ish, Elder Yu immediately began to flee. You won't be able to leave. Zhao Feng coldly snorted as he transformed into a bolt of lightning and shot toward Elder Yu. Bramble Bind. Elder Yu surged with a deep green divine power that filled the world. In a flash, thick bramble vines grew out of the palace, creating a sea of brambles. Boom! Bang! In a flash, the entire palace was pulverized and countless bramble vines shot toward Zhao Feng. Though-ish, Elder Yu gave a smug smile as he continued to flee. But a moment later, a 5-colored lightning domain appeared in the middle of that sea of bramble. All the thorny vines within the domain were blasted into a pile of charred wood shavings. Though-ish, Zhao Feng shot toward Elder Yu, seemingly piercing through space to instantly appear above him. So fast, Elder Yu was alarmed. A moment later, a heart-wrenching pain assailed him. Boom! Bang! Elder Yu was struck by Zhao Feng's fist, and his body was smashed into the ground, blood spurting from his mouth. He was a wood element cultivator and also a doctor. In terms of fighting ability, he was far inferior to an ordinary rank 6 true god. This kid is so strong, and his speed is far greater than mine. Elder Yu was well aware that he was no match for Zhao Feng, nor could he escape. Whoosh! Forcefully suppressing his injuries, Elder Yu flew toward Han Ning. Zhao Feng, you forced me to do this. Elder Yu surged with divine power as he prepared to imprison Han Ning, and use her to threaten Zhao Feng so that he could escape. Don't! In the face of Elder Yu's valiant aura, Han Ning found it hard to breathe. Elder Yu was about to capture Han Ning, seeking death. Zhao Feng's eyes chilled as he extended a palm and slashed. A blade of 5-colored lightning pierced through the air and cut through Elder Yu's thigh. Elder Yu howled in pain as his body was almost cut in two, and the enormous pressure around him instantly scattered. At this moment, powerful ripples of energy appeared in the surroundings. Who dares to make trouble in the Life Origin sect? An old man with dark green skin and a slightly shriveled body suddenly shouted. On the other side, an old woman leaning on a cane rushed toward Zhao Feng. Third elder, fourth elder, he wants to kill me. Hurry and save me. Elder Yu immediately howled. Stop, impudent, to dare intrude upon the life origin sect and commit murder. Chapter 1270. Stop, audacious to the extreme. You dare to break into the life origin sect and commit murder. The two elders of the life origin sect who had just arrived saw Elder Yu cut in two and immediately bellowed in rage. The life origin sect was a peak 4-star faction, but someone had managed to break in and kill an elder. The two of you came at just the right time. Zhao Feng suddenly turned to face the two ancient god experts charging at him. What do you mean? The green-skinned elder's eyes darkened as he stopped. This youth was facing two ancient god experts, but instead of running, he was facing them head-on. This made the elder feel that something was amiss. The other elder was also carefully inspecting Zhao Feng. Third elder, Elder C, don't listen to his nonsense. Hurry and kill him. Elder Yu, whose body had been cut in two, roared with all his might. But the two elders had profound gazes, and they did not act recklessly. You are. As the two elders carefully examined Zhao Feng, they suddenly realized something and grimaced. They had long ago heard that a supreme genius had appeared in the spiritual race not long ago and had become a rank 6 true god in one go. And this genius had an extremely unique left eye and hair color. But they had only heard of him and had never seen him in person, so the two of them couldn't have possibly recognized Zhao Feng. I am a core disciple of the spiritual race, Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng finished what the two elders had left unsaid. It really is him? The two elders were stunned, and then confusion appeared on their faces. The Life Origin sect was also a faction under the jurisdiction of the spiritual race. Why had Zhao Feng come to the Life Origin sect to make trouble? A year ago, I sent a descendant of the Eye of Life to the Life Origin sect in hopes that they would groom her, but I didn't expect that after I left, Yu Bingsheng, for his own selfish desires, would want to possess her and keep her imprisoned. Zhao Feng's expression was cold and harsh as he straightforwardly said this. The Eye of Life. The two Life Origin sect elders exclaimed in shock, their faces shaking in shock. The two of them simultaneously turned to Han Ning. It really is the Eye of Life. The two elders carefully sensed it, their minds reeling in shock. It's over. Elder Yu knew that he wouldn't be able to escape no matter what. However, even if his cultivation was crippled, he still had a way to cultivate again. It was just that would be much more difficult. Elder Yu, how dare you? The expressions of the two elders suddenly changed, and their cold gazes shot straight at Yu Bingsheng. The potential of the Eye of Life went without saying. If it remained in the Life Origin sect, it would definitely become one of its strongest experts. If the Eye of Life was sent to the Life Sacred Land, its future would be limitless, and the Life Origin sect would obtain enormous benefits. This was the reason why Elder Yu wanted to be Han Ning'er's companion. In that case, the one who would benefit the most in the future would be him. If he succeeded, the Life Origin sect would not blame Elder Yu. But the crux of the matter was that he had failed. Not only would the Life Origin sect lose the Eye of Life, it would also offend the core disciple of the spiritual race, Zhao Feng. You two came just in time. I'm going to kill him myself. Zhao Feng looked at the two elders and said calmly, Kill. Elder Yu's neck immediately shrank. Didn't Zhao Feng say that he would only cripple his cultivation? Why did it become kill now? If you hadn't threatened Han Ning'er's life just now, you might have been able to continue struggling at death's door. Zhao Feng coldly laughed. He had originally planned to spare this person's life, but Yu Bingsheng had made the wrong choice. The third and fourth elders of the Life Origin sect glanced at each other and messaged each other. Elder Yu is still a rank 6 true god and an elder of the Life Origin sect, so he still had value. But if he angered Zhao Feng for Yu Bingsheng's sake, the gains would not make up for the losses. Friend Zhao, this Elder Yu is still a rank 6 true god and an elder of the Life Origin sect. For the sake of the Life Origin sect, can you spare his life? The wizened elder asked. The Life Origin sect is willing to offer a large number of god crystals and spiritual materials as compensation to friend Zhao, as well as Yu Bingqing's life. The other old woman hurriedly added. The two elders echoed each other. This was the result of their conversation. Not only could they curry favor with Zhao Feng, they could also spare Yu Bingqing's life. After all, Zhao Feng's potential was far too great, and he also had an Eye of Life descendant as a friend. If they could form a good relationship with the two of them, the Life Origin sect would only benefit. On the side, Yu Bingqing rejoiced when he saw that the two elders of the sect wanted to spare his life. I came to inform you, not to ask you. Zhao Feng grunted, his expression unperturbed. These words caused the three elders of the Life Origin sect to grimace. The third and fourth elders had displeasure on their faces, while Elder Yu revealed a look of fear. He hadn't expected for Zhao Feng to be so unyielding as to not give the two elders any face. Boom! Hiss! Zhao Feng's left eye instantly flashed with countless bolts of white lightning. Destructive soul intent surged with powerful soul ripples. Don't! Third elder, fourth elder, hurry and persuade Zhao Feng. Elder Yu felt a life and death crisis and immediately began to plead. But it was too late. Zhao Feng's eye bloodline technique had been activated far too quickly. Cackrack! A ball of twisting thunder, tribulation, imprints twisted and burned like flames, directly bombarding Elder Yu's soul body. He only showed signs of struggling before his soul was completely obliterated. An instant kill. This is a soul eye bloodline technique. Tribulation, lightning energy. The two elders of the Life Origin sect were alarmed. It was rumored that Zhao Feng had directly attained rank 6 of the heavenly divine realm, but he had only needed a glance to kill a rank 6 true god. It was hard to imagine just how powerful Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was. It was at least on par with a descendant of the 8 great god eyes. This level of talent and strength was truly terrifying. Friend Zhao, you've already killed Elder Yu. Your friend with the Eye of Life should remain in the Life Origin sect and allow our Life Origin sect to compensate her. My Life Origin sect guarantees that something like this will never happen again. Now that Elder Yu is dead, Zhao Feng's anger should have dissipated, so the withered elder kindly said. Zhao Feng couldn't help but smile and was just about to refuse. No, I don't want to stay here, Han Ning straightforwardly said. Previously, the people present were all supreme experts, and she was only a quasi-god, so Han Ning hadn't said a word the entire time. But now, Han Ning had directly voiced her thoughts. Then let's go. Zhao Feng faintly smiled, took Han Ning, and left the Life Origin sect. Damn, this kid is too arrogant. He killed an elder of the Life Origin sect, and then left just like that. After Zhao Feng left, the withered elder's face chilled. There's nothing we can do about it. After all, Yu Bingqing was in the wrong first, and even if we make a big deal out of this, the Life Origin sect will get very little benefit, and we might even anger Zhao Feng. The gains don't make up for the losses. The other elder sighed. How formidable. He's Zhao Feng. He actually dared to barge in here and kill Elder Yu. The disciples gathered nearby began to discuss this matter. Just as they were about to leave the Life Origin sect, Zhao Feng waved his sleeve and took Zhao Hui into his interspatial dimension. Once everything was done, Zhao Feng left the Life Origin sect and returned to the spiritual race. Thank you for saving me again. Han Ning, Er's complexion returned to its original state, becoming watery and amiable. I was the one who harmed you. I shouldn't have handed you over to him. So saving you is only right, Zhao Feng straightforwardly said. The two had spent more than 30 years together from the Guang zone to the Xiling zone, and their relationship had undergone some changes. Zhao Feng could see that Han Ning, Er's situation was not right, so he naturally could not ignore her. On the way back, Zhao Feng was in no rush. From time to time, he would rest in the exchange spiritual hall. On this day, Zhao Feng took out the large pile of invitations he had received and looked through them. Zhao Feng had directly attained rank 6 of the heavenly divine realm, shocking the entire Xiling zone. But Zhao Feng had only ever shown his face to the spiritual race, so the other factions were still skeptical of Zhao Feng's authenticity. And when they had gone to the spiritual race to visit Zhao Feng had been in seclusion. Thus, they had sent invitations to Zhao Feng. Once Zhao Feng went, he would be able to prove the authenticity of the invitation. At the same time, if this was true, those factions would definitely try to rope in Zhao Feng and form a good relationship with Zhao Feng. There's even one from the life sacred land among these invitations. Zhao Feng took out an invitation with a strange green stripe on the cover from the pile of invitation letters. The life sacred land was the ruling faction of the Xiling zone. Although it didn't matter if he didn't go, Zhao Feng had never been to any sacred land, so he was rather curious about the so-called God Realm Sacred Land. Perhaps I can send Han Ning to the life sacred land. This idea suddenly appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. Although the spiritual race could guarantee Han Ning safety, in terms of prospects, it couldn't compare to the life sacred land. Moreover, Han Ning had the heavy responsibility of reviving Spirit Grass Gate. Thus, Zhao Feng felt that the life sacred land was the best choice for Han Ning. Fortunately, the route isn't too off. Zhao Feng browsed through the map in his mind. After resting for a while, the pair set off once more. Han Ning, let's go to the life sacred land and take a look. Zhao Feng said before setting off. Can we go to the life sacred land? Han Ning's eyes flashed. As a member of a faction of the Medicine Dao, how could she not know of the life sacred land? Moreover, the life sacred land could be said to be the dream of any Medicine Dao sacred land. Then let's go. With Han Ning's agreement, Zhao Feng changed course and set off. 4 months later, Zhao Feng and Han Ning arrived at the center of the Xiling zone, near the territory of the life sacred land. Before even reaching the actual life sacred land, Zhao Feng sensed that the heaven-earth yuan qi here was at least as thick as the spiritual race periphery disciples' residences. Moreover, the air was suffused with extremely thick vitality. Taking a single breath would make one's body feel refreshed. Through his left eye, Zhao Feng's vision extended into the distance. In the center of the boundless, pale green mist was an incomparably huge ancient life tree. This ancient tree seemed to connect heaven and earth, and the area it covered was even larger than the entire territory of the spiritual race. What a massive tree! Zhao Feng was stunned. This was the largest tree he had ever seen. The area covered by the giant tree was an independent dimension, isolated from the outside world by layers of arrays. Because they were too far away, Zhao Feng couldn't see what was going on inside. Just as he was about to set off for the life sacred land, Zhao Feng's left eye suddenly sensed something strange underground. Chapter 1271. Underground? Zhao Feng's eyes suddenly focused on an area more than 100,000 li underground. He saw a black-robed man with almost only his face exposed rapidly traveling through the earth. Moreover, this person's aura was extremely secretive, and he made almost no noise as he traveled through the earth. Even Zhao Feng would find it difficult to use such a superb earth movement technique. Suddenly, the black-robed man sensed something and turned his gaze to Zhao Feng. That is, Zhao Feng was startled. What's wrong? Han Ning noticed Zhao Feng's strange expression and couldn't help but ask. Zhao Feng ignored Han Ning, his eyes fixed on the black-robed man's right eye. I have myriad forms. One of Zhao Feng's clones had the eye of myriad forms. Of course, what truly shocked Zhao Feng was that this person only had one eye of myriad forms, the right eye. At this moment, the black-robed man was relying on the eye of myriad forms to control the earth energy of the earth, allowing him to travel through the earth with so little ripples of energy that normal people would find it difficult to detect. This Breck can actually sense me? Is it some kind of special eye bloodline? Deep underground, the black-robed man was rather surprised. Zhao Feng's eye was extremely unusual, So the black-robed man believed that Zhao Feng's I was probably a perception type, or else it would have been impossible for Zhao Feng to discover him. The Eye of Life. The black-robed man's gaze suddenly turned to Han Ning. Haha, since you've delivered yourself to my doorstep, I won't be polite. The black-robed man savagely laughed as he changed directions and shot toward Zhao Feng, killing intent. He's also an ancient god. Zhao Feng's expression darkened. Zhao Feng couldn't see through the black-robed man's exact cultivation, but he sensed that this person was definitely stronger than ancient god Black Heaven. In addition, Zhao Feng could also tell that the black-robed man's target was Han Ning. This made Zhao Feng a little confused. Han Ning hadn't made any public appearances since arriving in the Xiling Zone, and this was her first time coming to the central region of the Xiling Zone. As for the black-robed man, the moment he saw Han Ning, his killing intent surged. However, Zhao Feng would not let him succeed. Whoosh! The black-robed man rapidly traveled underground, closing in on Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng also made preparations to defend against the enemy. But when the black-robed man was less than 20,000 miles away from Zhao Feng, he suddenly stopped. The people from the life-sacred land are here. The black-robed man muttered. Hee, I'll let you off this time, said the black-robed man. Then, he changed his direction and quickly fled into the distance. Who is it? At this time, Han Ning suddenly heard those words and was shocked. However, with her cultivation, she was unable to detect the existence of the black-robed man. Zhao Feng's eyes darkened as he looked forward. Nearby, a small team of 3 was approaching Zhao Feng and Han Ning, exuding a physical soul aura. Who are you? The leader of this team of 3 was a youth dressed in a golden-blue robe. His appearance was extraordinary. He was an ancient god, and the 2 people next to him were rank 6 true gods. People invited by the life-sacred land. Zhao Feng calmly said as an invitation letter appeared in his hand. The blue-clothed youth scanned the invitation letter with his divine sense and then turned to Zhao Feng in surprise. You are Zhao Feng? The blue-clothed youth suspiciously scanned Zhao Feng from head to toe. The 2 people next to the blue-clothed youth also looked in surprise at Zhao Feng. The matter of Zhao Feng had caused quite a stir in the life-sacred land, and everyone was very interested in Zhao Feng. Han Ning cautiously stood to the side. In her eyes, the people of the life-sacred land were all experts of noble status. But at this moment, this blue-clothed youth was examining Zhao Feng in surprise. It was as if Zhao Feng's status was even higher than the blue-clothed youth's. If you want to enter the life-sacred land, you must pass my inspection. After all, changing one's appearance is far too easy. It's hard to avoid people pretending to be Zhao Feng and trying to sneak into the life-sacred land. The blue-clothed youth sternly said. Zhao Feng's brow creased. He had come at the life-sacred land's invitation, but he still had to undergo an inspection? Good sir, please don't blame me. Normally, there would be no such procedure, but the situation is special, so... The blue-clothed youth put on an embarrassed expression. Fine. How should I inspect you? Zhao Feng saw that the blue-clothed youth seemed to have some other reason, so he agreed. Xiahou Wu once fought with Zhao Feng, so I know a little about Zhao Feng. I want to test your skills. The blue-clothed youth said with a smile. Although the life-sacred land was in a special situation, if Zhao Feng wanted to enter, he didn't need to pass his inspection. However, the blue-clothed youth just so happened to be interested in Zhao Feng, so he used this as an excuse to see if Zhao Feng's strength was as Xiahou Wu said. It's very easy to change one's appearance, but changing the attribute of one's cultivation technique is rather difficult. The blue-clothed youth added. The 2 people next to the blue-clothed youth were taken aback. They knew that Lu Kai purely wanted to see Zhao Feng's strength. But Lu Kai was an ancient god genius of the previous generation, while Zhao Feng was only a rank 6 true god. How could he possibly be a match for him? Good sir, be at ease. I'll only use 40% of my strength. You should be able to take it, given your ability to defeat Xiahou Wu. Lu Kai added. Xiahou Wu had the Eye of Life and a peak rank 6 cultivation level, which is about the same as an ancient god who could only use 40% of his strength. However, Lu Kai was a genius of the previous generation of a life-sacred land. This 40% of his strength was probably even stronger than Xiao Wu's. Okay, Zhao Feng nodded. Lu Kai was elated to see Zhao Feng agree. The other two members of the life-sacred land and Han Ning immediately retreated a certain distance to avoid being injured by the shockwaves of the battle. It's starting. Good sir, be careful, Lu Kai warned with a smile. A moment later, his body began to grow larger, and a layer of silver runes appeared on it. A powerful physical pressure immediately began to spread out, causing the surrounding space to instantly grow heavy. Lu Kai's silver stellar secret body is already so oppressive even though he's only using 40% of his strength. It seems like he's made significant progress recently. The other two members of the life-sacred land were relatively close to the battle, so they could clearly sense this physical pressure. Whoosh! Lu Kai transformed into a streak of silver light that shot toward Zhao Feng. He smiled at Zhao Feng and punched. The moment this fist punched, the image of a silver stellar fist appeared in the air, leaving behind a series of explosions in its wake. Unperturbed, Zhao Feng activated his sacred lightning body, circulated his 5 elements divine power, and also punched. With his rank 6 true god cultivation and without using his eye bloodline, Zhao Feng was no match for Xiao Wu, so he naturally wasn't a match for Lu Kai. Thus, Zhao Feng used the full power of his physical body. Boom! Bang! A deafening clang of metal rang out from the clash of their fists. Hiss! White threads of lightning, as thin as a spider's web, began to spread toward Lu Kai's body. Lu Kai felt a faint numbing pain in his body. He actually managed to catch it. Lu Kai was taken aback. Based on what he knew, Zhao Feng had been able to defeat Xiao Wu mainly by relying on his eye bloodline. But now, Zhao Feng was able to catch his punch without using the power of his eye bloodline. The strength of his physique is even stronger than what Xiao Wu said, Lu Kai mentally muttered. He didn't know if Zhao Feng had been hiding his strength or if Zhao Feng had made some progress in this period of time. How could this be? He caught it. The other two members of the life-sacred land were taken aback. Take another punch from me. Lu Kai had a rather unsightly expression. In truth, if one wanted to examine Zhao Feng, that punch just now would have been more than enough. However, Zhao Feng had completely caught it without the slightest discomfort. This was quite a blow to Lu Kai's confidence. He was a mighty ancient god, but he wasn't even able to gain the upper hand against a rank 6 true god. Boom! Lu Kai shot into the sky, and after gathering power, he descended. From afar, it looked as if a towering silver mountain was crashing down from the sky. This time, Lu Kai was still using 40% of his strength, but because he was diving down, he was able to exert even more power. Boom! Zhao Feng sternly waited, his body surrounded by a domain of 5-colored lightning. Boom! Hiss! When Lu Kai got within a certain distance of Zhao Feng, he would be hindered and weakened by the 5 elements tribulation lightning domain. Lu Kai's fist was just about to strike Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng slightly squatted down, and the 5 elements tribulation lightning domain around him shrank and fused into his palm. Only then did he unleash a palm strike. This time, Zhao Feng fused his physical strength with the 5 elements tribulation lightning domain. Boom! Bang! As the two collided, Lu Kai was struck by an enormous bolt of lightning energy and was sent flying backward. How could this be? Lu Kai was taken aback as he rapidly retreated to conceal the fact that he had been pushed back by Zhao Feng. You really are Zhao Feng. Lu Kai awkwardly smiled. 2 teams from the life-sacred land, led by ancient gods, were stationed on the 2 sides extremely far away. I didn't think that Lu Kai would suffer. Zhao Feng is even stronger than when he defeated Xiao Wu. The 2 ancient gods sighed before leading their teams away. I'll take you into the sacred land, Lu Kai said to Zhao Feng, and then he turned to his 2 fellow disciples and ordered, the 2 of you continue searching. If you find anything, send word as soon as possible. Zhao Feng and Han Ning followed Lu Kai as they slowly approached the life-sacred land. Brother Lu, what's happened in the life-sacred land recently? Zhao Feng asked. In this short journey, he saw 3 teams rapidly departing, each led by an ancient god expert. Moreover, Zhao Feng also saw that there were constantly patrols on the edges of the life-sacred land, strictly inspecting anyone entering or leaving. Only now did Zhao Feng put the matter of Lu Kai inspecting him to the back of his mind. From the looks of it, a major incident had occurred in the life-sacred land. Brother Zhao is an honored guest to the life-sacred land, so let me tell you some information. Lu Kai grimaced. Zhao Feng and Han Ning couldn't help but look at him. Not too long ago, an Eye of Life descendant of the life-sacred land was killed not long after he left the sacred land. Lu Kai's eyes were cold and harsh. What? An Eye of Life descendant of the life-sacred land was killed? Zhao Feng was startled. The Eye of Life was definitely an object of great protection in the life-sacred land. But someone actually dared to kill an Eye of Life descendant that came from the life-sacred land? In addition, according to Lu Kai's description, this Eye of Life descendant was killed not long after leaving the sacred land. This meant that this person was hiding in the vicinity of the life-sacred land to intercept and kill him. This was a complete challenge to the dignity of the sacred land. Could it be him? Suddenly, the image of a black-robed man appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. Chapter 1272. There's a faction in the Xiling Zone that dares to oppose the life-sacred land. Zhao Feng voiced a shock. In the Xiling Zone, the life-sacred land was the dominant faction. Just what faction did the person who killed the Eye of Life descendant belong to that they dared to oppose the life-sacred land? Even if this person was from another sacred land, the 2 sacred lands wouldn't openly provoke them. A war between sacred lands would be no small matter. This matter still needs to be investigated, and we still can't determine who did it. But don't think that a God Realm sacred land is the strongest faction in a zone. Lu Kai shook his head and then solemnly said, "What do you mean?" Zhao Feng was stunned. A sacred land was the dominant faction in a zone. Was there a faction stronger than a sacred land? The ancient desolate realm of gods is vast and boundless, and there are countless factions hiding in the shadows. There are a few factions that have already surpassed the 5-star standard and reached the level of a God Realm sacred land. Lu Kai continued. Zhao Feng nodded. It wasn't hard to understand. In every world, there were powerful forces hidden in the darkness that no one knew about. How could a place as large as the ancient desolate realm of gods not have one? However, it was a little shocking that a force that developed in secret could develop to the scale of a holy land. Zhao Feng and Lu Kai followed Lu Kai through a special passage, passing through many layers of inspection before smoothly entering the life-sacred land. The heaven-earth Yuan Qi here is comparable to the core territory of the spiritual race, and the vitality here is extremely dense. The spiritual race simply can't compare. Zhao Feng mentally sighed. If one were born in this environment, they would be influenced from the very start, and their constitution and vitality would far surpass the average person. If Zhao Feng could cultivate in a place as good as the life-sacred land when he first started his body refining, the speed and efficiency of his body refining would increase by at least 10 times. This energy? Lu Kai suddenly grimaced as he looked at Han Ning next to Zhao Feng. The life energy in the surroundings surged into her eyes without her realizing it. Pure life energy began to exude from her eyes, seeming to have the power to revive the dead. This is the Eye of Life? Lu Kai said in shock. Although the life-sacred land was the home of the Eye of Life, there weren't as many descendants of the 8 great god eyes as one imagined. An Eye of Life descendant was an extremely rare existence, even in the life-sacred land. The density of her bloodline has changed. Zhao Feng's left eye saw everything. Han Ning'er was just a disciple of an ordinary 4.5-star faction in the Gulong Zone. Her bloodline had just awakened and had yet to be excavated. Now that she had just entered the life-sacred land, the density of her Eye of Life bloodline had begun to change. It seemed that this trip had not been in vain. This was definitely the most suitable place for Han Ning Air. Zhao Feng, who is she? Lu Kai asked. My friend, Zhao Feng said simply. Lu Kai's expression froze. Zhao Feng was a core disciple of the spiritual race, and this woman had come to the life-sacred land with Zhao Feng, meaning that they had an unusual relationship. This also meant that this woman was probably a disciple of the spiritual race. He couldn't help but wonder why the astral's luck had been so good recently. Let's go to the top, Lu Kai said. Zhao Feng and Han Ning'er looked up. The massive ancient tree blotted out the sun, and the entire sky was a crystalline green. Palaces and halls of various sizes had been constructed on the ancient tree, as well as mysterious bays, rivers, and waterfalls. The higher they flew, the denser the heaven-earth Yuan Qi became, and the fewer buildings there were. Nearly 10 people had gathered in front of a grand green palace. One of them was the youth that Zhao Feng recognized, Xiahou Wu. He's Zhao Feng. A man wearing a golden imperial robe stared with scorching eyes at Zhao Feng. He was the strongest quasi-god prodigy of the life-sacred land, quasi-god Guanlong. He had originally been the most dazzling genius of the Xiling Zone, someone who could be compared to the geniuses of the other sacred lands. But Zhao Feng had suddenly popped out of the spiritual race and broken into rank 6, taking his place. His cultivation truly is rank 6, but I don't know if he managed to directly reach rank 6. There were quite a few young disciples in the crowd who doubtfully examined Zhao Feng. Besides these youths, there were also 3 elders in the crowd, all of them of unfathomable cultivation. Junior Zhao Feng pays his respects to the seniors of the sacred land. Zhao Feng's gaze fell on the 3 elders, completely ignoring the doubts of the young disciples. At this moment, the eyes of the 3 elders flashed with sharp light as they stared at Zhao Feng as if they wanted to see through him. For the spiritual race, to be able to accept someone like you is truly enviable. Suddenly, a wrinkled elder wearing a silver-gray robe stroked his beard and chuckled. Senior overpraises me, Zhao Feng politely said. Xiahou Wu, take Zhao Feng and his friends on a tour of the life-sacred land. The wrinkled elder said with a faint smile. Yes, master, Xiahou Wu respectfully replied as he walked out. Zhao Feng, allow me to take you on a tour of the life-sacred land. Xiahou Wu's attitude was rather friendly, but when he mentioned the life-sacred land, he inadvertently revealed a hint of pride. Once Zhao Feng's group of 3 left, the wrinkled elder suddenly said, I can tell you with absolute certainty that Zhao Feng directly attained rank 6 of the heavenly divine realm. These words immediately caused the faces of the other young disciples to turn stiff and unsightly. Some of them were quasi-gods, some were true gods, and some were even ancient gods. They were all the strongest geniuses of the life-sacred land, but at this moment they all lowered their heads. Damn! Quasi-god Guanlong's lips curled up into a curse. Originally, he had planned to break into the heavenly divine realm after a while. But now, he still wanted to try. He wanted to break into rank 6 and reclaim the glory that belonged to him. Under Xiahou Wu's guidance, Zhao Feng and Han Ning slowly walked through the magnificent life-sacred land, which was like a massive work of art. The vitality has suddenly become denser. Zhao Feng was taken aback. The east side of the life-sacred land is a place for cultivation and living, while the west side is a place for growing and cultivating resources. Xiahou Wu smiled. The spiritual materials of the life-sacred land were renowned throughout the ancient desolate realm of gods for their superior quality. The life-sacred land had many precious materials that were extinct in the outside world. Xiahou Wu brought Zhao Feng directly to the area where spiritual materials were being cultivated. He didn't even try to avoid Zhao Feng as he took him to the area where treasures were being cultivated. There were countless precious herbs here, and even Zhao Feng could only recognize a small portion of them. As a doctor, Han Ning was extremely excited, her eyes glimmering with a dark green light as she inspected every inch of her surroundings. The sacred land truly is a wonderful place. Zhao Feng sighed. The medicinal herbs here were classified into many categories, and there were almost all kinds of them. Moreover, the life sacred land's herbs far surpassed those found anywhere else. Moreover, the soul-type herbs that were rare in the outside world were also abundant here. Zhao Feng, I'll take you to a good place, Xiahou Wu suddenly said. After saying this, Xiahou Wu led Zhao Feng and Han Ning through a series of twists and turns until they finally arrived at a massive and strange building constructed from vines and trees. This place was also protected by a powerful array. The interior of the building was supported by many tree trunks, and the walls of the building were inlaid with many green rings of light. Zhao Feng could immediately see that each green ring of light was connected to an independent dimension. Let's go to that one. Xiahou Wu pointed to a rather dark green ring of light. Swish! The three arrived in a little world constructed from strange plants. This independent dimension was so small that one could see the end of it at a glance. In front of them was a pool of mud and vines, flowing with a fragrant green liquid. A single glance was enough to show just how precious this liquid was. This is the pool of life. Go and try, Xiahou Wu said with a smile. Splash! Zhao Feng jumped in. In a flash, Zhao Feng felt like all the cells in his body had been awakened and were doing their utmost to absorb the life energy in the liquid. Every aspect of his body was restored to its peak state. After a little while, Zhao Feng sensed that his level of existence had increased. This is a pool of life, a cultivation ground created by the life sacred land. If a disciple of the life sacred land wants to soak in this place, they have to accumulate several years of contribution points. The pool of life you're currently soaking in is for rank 7 ancient gods and will be extremely beneficial to you, Xiahou Wu explained from his side. Many thanks. Zhao Feng naturally understood just how precious this pool of life was. In that building, just now, all the green rings of light added up to less than 100. The life sacred land had countless disciples, but there were only 100 pools of life, and they corresponded to different levels of cultivation. On their way here, many of the entrances were rather dark. It was clear that no disciple had entered. Of course, it wasn't that they didn't want to enter, but that the price was too great. But now, an outsider like Zhao Feng could directly soak in a pool of life corresponding to a rank 7 ancient god. You can soak in a pool of life for 3 days each time you come here. You have to cherish this opportunity. I'll take your friend to see some other places. After saying this, Xiahou Wu left with Han Ning. This is a good place. I can't miss it. Zhao Feng was elated. He had just broken into rank 7 ancient god and had yet to completely stabilize his foundations. He was still a long way from rank 8. Now that he had the fortune to enter this pool of life, he could use this chance to increase his level of existence and cultivate earth and wooden tent. Buzz. BZZ. Zhao Feng closed his eyes and exuded earth and wooden tent energy that filled the air. He had directly attained rank 7 of the heavenly divine realm, which was an enormous leap. His various intents still had a lot of room for improvement. In the next 3 days, I have to push my earth and wood intent to the peak of level 4. Zhao Feng muttered as he took out some intent crystals to assist in his cultivation. 3 days later, Zhao Feng's surroundings were shrouded in a translucent yellow-green mist. The surrounding earth and trees faintly swayed, and some flower buds even began to bloom. Suddenly, Zhao Feng opened his bright eyes. With the help of the pool of life, my earth and wood intent have smoothly reached the peak of level 4. Zhao Feng smiled in elation. Besides this, his level of existence had also increased significantly. At this moment, Xiahou Wu and Han Ning suddenly appeared in this dimension. Zhao Feng, an elder of the life sacred land, wishes to speak with you. Chapter 1273. Zhao Feng somewhat reluctantly left the pool of life. En route, Zhao Feng learned that Han Ning had also made enormous gains in the last 3 days. She had visited even more areas where precious plants were grown and seen many precious plants that she had never seen before. She was even fortunate enough to enter the upper floors of the Life Sacred Lands Life Law Hall and browse through some of the precious ancient texts that interested her. Under Xiahou Wu's lead, Zhao Feng's group arrived at a secret hall. There were only 3 people inside, 2 elders and 1 youth. One of these 2 elders was Xiahou Wu's master, the wrinkled elder that Zhao Feng had met when he first arrived. The other person was rather short, his white hair flowing with a faint green luster. His aura seemed even stronger than the wrinkled elder's. The golden-robed youth next to them was none other than Quasi-God Guanlong. Junior, Zhao Feng pays respects to the seniors of the sacred land. Zhao Feng looked at the 2 elders. Friend Zhao, your time in the Life Sacred Land these last 3 days has been rather good, right? The wrinkled elder straightforwardly said. This is the first time this junior has come to the Holy Land. I've never seen anything here before. Everything here is new to me, Zhao Feng honestly said. Everything in the Life Sacred Land was the best he had ever seen. Naturally, the Life Sacred Land is one of the sacred lands with the longest history and is one of the strongest, Quasi-God Guanlong proudly said. His glory had been stolen by Zhao Feng, so he desired to surpass Zhao Feng in other aspects to regain his sense of accomplishment. The 2 exchanged a few more pleasantries before the wrinkled elder got straight to the point. Friend Zhao, the Life Sacred Land needs a talent like you. If you stay here, your treatment will be several times better than in the spiritual race. Moreover, you're a body-refining cultivator with an eye bloodline. In this aspect, only the Life Sacred Land can help you the most. The wrinkled old man said with a kind expression. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled. The moment he came to the Life Sacred Land, he had expected to encounter this sort of thing. He also knew that his journey to the Life Sacred Land had been planned out by the elders of the Sacred Land. First, he would show Zhao Feng the resources and foundation of the Life Sacred Land, and then he would give him an enormous benefit, the pool of life. Finally, he made a lot of promises. If it was someone else, how could they reject such an invitation? To the side, Han Ning'er was extremely excited. She didn't expect that Zhao Feng would be personally invited by the Holy Land's elder. Being able to enter the Life Sacred Land was the dream of all doctors. Even Han Ning had dreamed of such a good thing. On the other side, Quasi-God Guanlong had an unsightly expression. Once Zhao Feng entered the Life Sacred Land, his name would be completely eclipsed by Zhao Feng. But Zhao Feng's next words left everyone dumbfounded. Thank you for your kindness, Elder. Junior has been living quite well in the spirit race. I didn't want to change places so soon. Zhao Feng refused, and the reason for his refusal couldn't even be considered a reason. In fact, before coming here, Zhao Feng had already thought about this problem. If he came to the Life Sacred Land, Zhao Yufei would also come. He could live without worries. But Zhao Yufei had lived in the spiritual race for more than 30 years and had befriended many people. Zhao Feng didn't want Zhao Yufei to discard everything else for his sake. Moreover, Zhao Feng didn't plan to walk the path of body refining, and his eye had little to do with the path of the Eye of Life. Thus, the help that the Life Sacred Land could give him was not as great as the wrinkled elder claimed. Most importantly, he didn't know what attitude the Life Sacred Land had toward his god Eye. The 9th god, Eye, was of utmost importance. He refused. Quasi-God Guanlong was surprised, but he also felt rather strange. The sacred land that he was so proud of had sent an invitation to Zhao Feng, but it had been refused. Friend Zhao, is there something that you find difficult to say? The wrinkled elder asked after a few moments of shock. I came here this time in hopes that the Life Sacred Land can keep this friend of mine. Zhao Feng changed the subject, drawing everyone's attention to Han Ning. Junior Han Ning pays respects to the seniors of the sacred land. Han Ning was stunned, and then she cautiously said. After saying this, she looked at Zhao Feng, her thoughts inscrutable. The Eye of Life can stay here. The slightly short old man spoke for the first time. The Eye of Life? Xiahou Wu and Quasi-God Guanlong stared at Han Ning in surprise. Everyone had been focused on Zhao Feng this entire time, so they naturally overlooked Han Ning, who had a lower cultivation level. Upon closer inspection, they immediately noticed that Han Ning had the bloodline of a descendant of the Eye of Life. Since you don't want to stay here, the Life Sacred Land will not force you. In the future, if you wish to come, the gates of the Life Sacred Land will always be open to you. The short old man continued. The wrinkled elder was rather surprised by these words. Even if Zhao Feng had refused, there should still be room for him to stay. For example, he could take out divine weapons, resources, treasures, or even better promises. What? Quasi-god Guanlong stiffened as he stared at the elder. Zhao Feng had refused the Sacred Land's invitation, but this lord was still so friendly that the gates of the Sacred Land would always be open to Zhao Feng. Many thanks for senior's favor. Zhao Feng carefully examined this short elder. As soon as the elder spoke, everyone present silently agreed and didn't say anything else. It seemed like this elder was the strongest expert here. Junior will bid farewell. After exchanging a few more words, Zhao Feng said his farewells. After all, it had been a very long time since he left the spiritual race. Only by staying here will you be able to unleash your potential and complete the task that Spirit Grass Gate entrusted to you. Zhao Feng said to Han Ning. When she thought of Spirit Grass Gate, Han Ning's eyes hardened. After saying his farewells, Zhao Feng left the Life Sacred Land. Han Ning was taken away by Xiahou Wu and Quasi-God Guanlong. Only the two elders were left in the hall. Your Excellency, why did you let him leave so easily? The wrinkled elder was rather confused. His true cultivation level is rank 7. The short old man suddenly said, What? How? The wrinkled elder's face contorted in shock. Of course, he could only confirm that Zhao Feng was currently a rank 7 ancient god. Whether he had broken through to rank 6, then to rank 7, or directly to rank 7, was unknown. Although it's rather unfortunate, Zhao Feng delivered an Eye of Life descendant to us, allowing the Life Sacred Land to establish a relationship with him. After saying those words, the short old man disappeared. After leaving the Life Sacred Land, Zhao Feng confirmed the route back to the spiritual race and set off. Along the way, he used the token of a core spiritual race disciple to smoothly pass through the teleportation arrays of the various factions. However, after 3 teleportations, Zhao Feng ran into a problem. Come out. Zhao Feng stood still, his eyes fixed on the distant void. Whoosh! At this moment, a golden flame ignited in the void. Following that, a tall, straight, one-armed man whose entire body was like gold and iron slowly stepped out from within. This powerful energy was undoubtedly that of an ancient god. You actually noticed me? The man examined Zhao Feng in surprise. Firstly, Zhao Feng was the most dazzling genius of the Xiling Zone, and this was the first time he had seen him. Secondly, he was extremely curious that Zhao Feng had been able to sense him while he was concealed in the void. It seems like the blazing gold race began to move after learning that I appeared in the Life Sacred Land, and they've been waiting for me on the way back to the spiritual race. From this man's attire, Zhao Feng could guess at the faction behind him. The news that Zhao Feng had appeared in the Life Sacred Land naturally couldn't be concealed. You rejected the Life Sacred Land's invitation, right? Since that's the case, the blazing gold race doesn't need to try and rope you in. The one-armed man's face suddenly turned cold and harsh. Now that Zhao Feng had appeared in the Life Sacred Land, the blazing gold race naturally understood that the Life Sacred Land would definitely invite Zhao Feng. If Zhao Feng agreed, he would definitely remain in the Life Sacred Land, but if he refused, he would definitely return to the spiritual race. Thus, the blazing gold race had long ago placed many spies on the way back to the spiritual race. The moment Zhao Feng appeared, the one-armed man would move. The spiritual race probably gave you some trump cards, or else you wouldn't have been so calm after meeting me. The one-armed man gave a playful smile. But I'm also prepared to kill you. You're doomed. The one-armed man grimaced, and a searing, killing intent surged toward Zhao Feng. Swish! A silver ball of light appeared in the one-armed man's hand. White runes flowed across the surface of the ball. He pointed a finger, and the silver ball suddenly released a curtain of silver runes that fused with the world. A spatial binding energy began to spread through the world, primarily targeting Zhao Feng. With this space-sealing divine artifact, the heavenly binding pearl, you won't be able to escape. The one-armed man savagely laughed as he shot toward Zhao Feng like a blazing golden light. Before he even got close, Zhao Feng felt a sharp and scorching light. The blazing gold race was ranked 21st among the 10,000 ancient races, slightly lower than the spiritual race, but it was extremely powerful and could not be underestimated. You call that a space-sealing divine artifact? Zhao Feng couldn't help but sneer. Die! The one-armed man's hand turned into a sharp blade as his body transformed into a golden flame that shot through the air toward Zhao Feng. The one-armed man's space-sealing divine artifact was of a rather high level. It prevented others from using space intent, but it did not affect him. At this moment, a dark silver robe appeared on Zhao Feng's body. Swish! With a wave of the robe, a pitch-black flame appeared in front of Zhao Feng. Boom! Bang! The black destruction serpent dragon's claws fiercely slammed into the one-armed man, its crimson and black draconic flames. This is an expert with the bloodline of the destruction dragon race. The one-armed man retreated some distance, a look of surprise on his face. It seemed like this was the bodyguard the spiritual race had given to Zhao Feng. However, even though his opponent had a top 10 bloodline, the density was too low. He was no match for the blazing gold race bloodline. The space-time robe. The one-armed man's eyes fell on Zhao Feng's robe, and his shock was even greater than when he saw the black destruction serpent dragon. At this moment, Zhao Feng circulated his space intent and activated the space-time robe. Whoosh! Layers of dark silver spatial illusions began to spread through the world, and invisible spatial binding energy descended on the one-armed man's body. You won't be able to escape even like this. Zhao Feng coldly chuckled as he returned the one-armed man's words. His space-time robe had many uses, and it naturally had a space-sealing ability. You don't know the immensity of the heavens and earth. The one-armed man suddenly began to laugh, his face even more excited, and golden flames burned in his eyes. The black destruction serpent dragon was no match for him. And although the space-time robe was a supreme quality divine artifact, it was a support-type divine artifact, so Zhao Feng would find it very difficult to injure it. As long as he killed the black destruction serpent dragon, wouldn't Zhao Feng be at his mercy? Even if Zhao Feng had other trump cards of the spiritual race and the one-armed man couldn't kill him, he was still confident that he could escape. Once the secret of the space-time robe was revealed, Zhao Feng would have to defend against more than just the blazing gold race. Chapter 1274. Haha, you don't know your place. The one-armed man had an excited expression as golden flames lit up the world around him. Thwish! In a flash of golden light, the one-armed man slashed at the black destruction serpent dragon like a sharp golden blade. In the one-armed man's view, the only thing that could pose a threat to him was the black destruction serpent dragon. As long as he could kill it, everything would be settled. A body-refining expert skilled in metal and fire intent. The black destruction serpent dragon's expression darkened. If it was facing a normal ancient god expert, it would be able to put up a fight. However, this one-armed man's bloodline was extremely powerful, and he specialized in body refining. He also had the sharpness of metal and the explosive power of fire. He could attack and defend at the same time, and his strength could only be described as terrifying. It would be rather difficult for the black destruction serpent dragon to challenge someone stronger than it was. Boom! The black destruction serpent dragon immediately activated its destruction dragon race bloodline. Balls of pitch-black destruction dragon flame shot out of the cracks in its scales. You're not an ancient god, so what's the use of just having a bloodline? The one-armed man's eyes were cold as he punched. His fist was wrapped in a layer of golden metal with golden flames burning on it. Destruction Dragon Blast. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon thrust out its claws and clashed with the one-armed man. Boom! Bang! In this clash, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was sent flying several dozen feet. It was covered in wounds, but fortunately, it had the Destruction Dragon body, so it quickly healed. The one-armed man stood as steady as Mount Tai. Although there were still some wisps of Destruction Dragon flame on his fist and arm, his cultivation and unique bloodline were able to quickly extinguish them. Master, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was puzzled. Why hadn't Zhao Feng done anything? This brat might be trying to escape while I'm seriously fighting with the Destruction Dragon race bloodline possessor. The one-armed man was now on guard against Zhao Feng. At Zhao Feng's level, it would be very difficult to harm him without a powerful attack. Once the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon was at a disadvantage, Zhao Feng might use this chance to escape. On the other hand, he needed to finish off the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon as soon as possible. I'll send you on your way. The one-armed man suddenly stared at the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, and a heavy and scorching magnificent power reverberated through heaven and earth. At this moment, everything within a radius of tens of thousands of miles suddenly collapsed. Everything was ignited by the golden flames, as if it had turned into a golden ocean. Meanwhile, the one-armed man's body had also undergone a tremendous change. His body expanded and turned into a ferocious giant beast. His entire body was covered in golden, flaming scales. Boom! At this moment, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had no choice but to be careful and activate its Destruction Dragon race bloodline with all its might. Heaven falls and earth rends. The one-armed male that had turned into a giant beast in golden armor quickly arrived in the air above the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. His huge claws gathered a power that could crush almost everything, and he slammed it down fiercely. Boom! Where the one-armed man landed, the heavens and earth rumbled as a wave of golden flames swept out in all directions. Not good. We can't block it. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon had a solemn expression. The one-armed man wanted to end the battle quickly, so after activating his bloodline, he immediately used his battle skill to deal a fatal blow. If he was hit, even with his Destruction Dragon race bloodline, he would be severely injured and unable to fight even if he didn't die. However, right at this moment, he received an order from Zhao Feng. Attack with all your might. The fear on the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's face immediately disappeared. Destruction Dragon Breath. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon spat out a ball of scarlet black, forbidden divine flames after activating its bloodline with all its might. Boom! A giant scarlet black ball of fire shot toward the one-armed man like a scarlet black sun that could burn and destroy everything in its path. Child's play. Watch as I smash it into pieces. The one-armed man showed no fear and continued to press forward. However, at this moment, he suddenly sensed something strange. A whirlpool of bloodline power silently enveloped the one-armed man's chest. Suddenly, a crystalline white blade of lightning shot out of the whirlpool. It was as long as a person and radiated the aura of God Tribulation lightning. Swoosh! The huge crystal white lightning blade directly slashed across the one-armed man's waist, directly cutting open his stomach. Shameless Junior, you dare to ambush me? The one-armed man's momentum instantly collapsed, and even the combat skill he was preparing to use was greatly weakened. Buzz! BZZ! The part of the one-armed man's waist that had been cut open began to reconnect. After all, he was a body-refining cultivator, and his defensive and healing abilities were both outstanding. Kaboom! At this moment, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's Destruction Dragon Breath collided with the one-armed man. The one-armed man howled in pain from within the black sun. Zhao Feng's Tribulation Lightning Eye Slash had only cut open his body, so it hadn't done much damage. But before his body had recovered, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's Destruction Dragon Flame attacked him, changing the situation. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's Destruction Dragon Flame was already extremely powerful, and now that it had penetrated the one-armed man's body through that massive wound, one could easily imagine the damage it had done. Boom! Bang! The one-armed man charged out of the Black Destruction fireball, but the power of his technique, sundering heaven and earth, was even weaker and no longer posed any threat to the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. This kid can use space intent because he's wearing the space-time robe, and he can even control tribulation lightning energy. The one-armed man had a gloomy expression. He hadn't expected all of this. His heaven-binding pearl could restrict Zhao Feng's space intent. However, Zhao Feng was wearing the supreme quality divine artifact, the space-time robe, so these restrictions were naturally useless. Moreover, Zhao Feng could control tribulation lightning energy and use spatial eye bloodline techniques to directly unleash the attack from within his body and break through his physical defenses. Master truly knows how to grasp opportunities. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon grinned as it transformed into a pitch-black flame and pursued the one-armed man. Boom! Bang! Crash! The one-armed man continued to recover from his injuries while fiercely clashing with the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon, and he still had the upper hand. I have to go. A pair of golden wings condensed on Zhao Feng's back as he slowly approached the battlefield. After becoming an ancient god, he had long ago lost the advantage of a body-refining expert. He wouldn't be able to take a single blow from a true ancient god body-refining expert. After all, his sacred lightning body had only been cultivated to the level of a rank 4 true god. Thus, when Zhao Feng faced the one-armed man, Zhao Feng would not engage him in close combat. 5 elements tribulation lightning palm. Zhao Feng circulated all his energy to launch a long-range attack at the one-armed man. Boom! Bang! Zhao Feng's massive palm of lightning struck the one-armed man's body, causing him to feel a stabbing pain and numbness. Damn, this brat might only be a rank 6 true god, but his intent is powerful, and he also has tribulation lightning energy. The one-armed man's expression darkened. Even more helpless was that Zhao Feng didn't approach him at all, continuing to attack from behind the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. But he's gotten close to the battlefield. I might be able to find a chance to attack him. The one-armed man began to think of a plan. Boom! Bang! Crash! The one-armed man relied on the advantage of his physical body and bloodline to fight against Zhao Feng and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. At the same time, he continued to move at high speed to guard against Zhao Feng's tribulation lightning eye slash. At a certain point, Zhao Feng got a little closer to the one-armed man. Die, Zhao Feng! The one-armed man roared as a golden all suddenly appeared in his hand. The moment this all appeared, countless rays of sharp golden light began to slash through the world, almost pulverizing everything in their path. Boom! The power the one-armed man had been accumulating suddenly exploded forth, transforming into a scorching golden beam of light that shot toward Zhao Feng. Not good. A high-quality divine weapon. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon grimaced. The one-armed man had never attacked Zhao Feng before because he was not skilled in speed. Thus, when he attacked, he had to deal a killing blow. The golden awl in the one-armed man's hand exploded with a dazzling golden light that fused with the one-armed man. Like an upside-down pyramid, it stabbed downward. Junior die. The one-armed man had an excited smile on his face. This was an attack that he had unleashed in the blink of an eye. It was extremely fast, and its range was enormous. It was impossible for Zhao Feng to dodge. A rank 7 ancient god using the power of a high-quality divine weapon was certain to kill Zhao Feng. It looks to me like you've come to die. Zhao Feng stood his ground, making no attempt to dodge. Boom! Zhao Feng no longer concealed his cultivation and exploded with the power of a rank 7 ancient god. Even a rank 7 ancient god has to die. After the one-armed man recovered from his shock, his killing intent toward Zhao Feng intensified. He finally understood why Zhao Feng was so fearless. It was because he was already an ancient god. However, Zhao Feng had only just broken into the ancient god level, so there was still a large gap between them. Swish! A small violet shield suddenly appeared in Zhao Feng's hand. This was one of the spoils of war he had obtained from killing ancient god night dragon. Although its quality had dropped, it was still more than enough to block the one-armed man's attack. Boom! Bang! The two divine weapons fiercely clashed. High-quality divine weapon. The one-armed man's expression darkened. He hadn't expected for Zhao Feng to have a high-quality divine weapon right after becoming an ancient god. However, this high-quality divine weapon was damaged and not suited for Zhao Feng, so Zhao Feng found it difficult to use its power. Tribulation, lightning, eye flame. Zhao Feng's left eye suddenly exploded with destructive lightning energy. The one-armed man was so close that he couldn't dodge. Cackrack. The one-armed man felt his head go dizzy from the soul attack, and he couldn't control the energy in his body. Destruction, dragon blast. The black destruction serpent dragon madly attacked the one-armed man from the back. Tribulation, lightning, eye slash. Zhao Feng unleashed another eye bloodline technique. Swoosh! A white crystal thunderblade slashed the one-armed man's upper body from his head to his waist, leaving a huge wound on his upper body. With his defense broken, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon's attacks became even stronger. Not good. This kid is a rank 7 ancient god with an abnormally powerful eye bloodline. I can't kill him, so I have to spread the news. The one-armed man endured the pain as he made up his mind. He would find it very difficult to kill a rank 7 ancient god with a supreme quality defensive divine weapon, and he also had the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon with him. Huh, where do you think you're going? Zhao Feng coldly laughed. His own secret had been exposed, so how could he let the one-armed man escape so easily? Activating his left eye, Zhao Feng once more unleashed the Tribulation Lightning Eye Flame. Even though the one-armed man had been prepared, he was still unable to endure the powerful damage. His soul ached as he lost control of his body. Swish! Zhao Feng activated the space-time robe and took the one-armed man into its dimension. Chapter 1275. After taking the one-armed man into the space-time robe dimension, Zhao Feng and the Black Serpent Dragon also entered. Damn, I ended up in the space-time robe's dimension. After recovering from the soul eye technique, the one-armed man surveyed his surroundings with a dark expression. He was surrounded by a vast starry sky, and below him was an incomparably huge gray stone slab. On the stone slab was a black-robed, cold-looking youth, and then an egg. Although the black-clothed man's aura was sinister and terrifying, his cultivation was too low. The one-armed man looked down on him. What really surprised him was that there was an egg here. However, he didn't have the time to care about other things right now. How are you going to run now? Zhao Feng had a ruminating smile on his face. As the owner of the space-time robe, he could greatly restrict his enemies in the space-time robe dimension. But at the same time, enemies could easily destroy the core of the space-time robe and inflict massive damage to the space-time robe. Whoosh! Zhao Feng's figure flashed, appearing on the right side of the one-armed man, and struck out with his palm. On the other side, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon also unleashed a destructive attack. What a strong suppression! The one-armed man's expression darkened. Zhao Feng was the master of the space-time robe. In this place, the one-armed man was greatly suppressed by space, and his space-time intent went without saying. Boom! As long as the one-armed man activated his physique with all his might, he would be able to defend. The structure of the space-time robe should be in the gray stone slab down below. The one-armed man's eyes were like torches as he looked down. As long as he could damage the space-time robe structure, he could easily leave this dimension. Stop your futile struggle. In truth, I could have killed you outside, and now that you're in the space-time robe dimension, you have even less power to resist. Zhao Feng's left eye stared at the one-armed man, and a powerful surge of eye intent and supreme space-time intent spread. Space-time seal. A flow of space-time power Upanishad, which was both real and illusory, descended on the one-armed man. This is space-time eye technique. The one-armed man was so shocked that he even slowed down his speech. The space-time Upanishad and the advanced Upanishads were extremely hard to comprehend. For the sake of convenience, most true gods would only comprehend a bit of space intent. They wouldn't bother with time intent at all. However, at this moment, Zhao Feng used his space-time eye technique. Moreover, this pupil technique was so profound that it could even restrict the one-armed man, who was an ancient god. Attack! Zhao Feng shouted. World-destroying dragon breath. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon activated its bloodline power and spat out a destructive black sun that engulfed the one-armed man. Death Curse Binding. Down below, Zhao Wang also took out the Staff of Death Curse and cast a forbidden technique. The Staff of Death Curse was similar to the space-time robe in that it also recorded a few combat skills and secret arts. Zhao Wang's realm was low, so he mainly relied on the power of the Staff of Death Curse to deal damage to the one-armed man. Zhao Feng didn't stop. He used the power of his left eye and unleashed 3 soul eye bloodline techniques. Damn, I destroyed her. Space-time robe. A look of despair appeared on the one-armed man's face. He's going to blow himself up. Zhao Feng instantly saw through the one-armed man's plan. But now that he was trapped in the space-time eye bloodline technique, even self-detonation would take much longer. Tribulation Lightning Eye Flame. Zhao Feng immediately activated his left eye and condensed even more tribulation lightning symbols. Cackrack. A twisted tribulation lightning flame exploded on the one-armed man's soul, causing his movements to slow down once more. The Black Destruction Serpent Dragon and Zhao Wang followed Zhao Feng's will and continued to attack. Gaze of the God Eye. The moment Zhao Feng's left eye noticed that the one-armed man was about to self-detonate, he activated his soul extraction eye bloodline technique. Under the effects of the space-time seal, the one-armed man's thoughts of resistance were much slower and weaker. One could soon see the one-armed man's golden soul slowly leave his body. As the soul's control over the body grew weaker, self-detonation became even more impossible. Bang! Using this chance, the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon and Zhao Wang madly attacked the one-armed man's body, inflicting massive injuries. The effects of the space-time seal are about to disappear. Zhao Feng sensed that the one-armed man's thoughts of resistance were rapidly getting stronger, and in the end, he was able to completely resist the gaze of the God Eye. Then go back to your body. Zhao Feng couldn't help but smile and stop the gaze of the God Eye. This one-armed man had lived for countless years, and his sole intent was extremely powerful. Extracting it was still rather difficult. In addition, his body had already been mostly destroyed by Zhao Wang and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon. Even if the one-armed man returned to his body, he would find it very difficult to self-detonate. Damn, the blazing gold race won't forgive you. The one-armed man roared in fury. At this moment, his body was so tattered that it didn't even look human. Zhao Feng and the others could clearly see the golden blood rapidly flowing through his body in an attempt to heal his wounds. Even if you self-detonate now, you won't be able to threaten me. Zhao Feng coldly looked down at the one-armed man with a playful smile. What do you want? The one-armed man felt a sense of helplessness. His injuries were too severe. Even if he relied on his bloodline and secret arts, he wouldn't be able to recover in a short amount of time. However, the fact that Zhao Feng hadn't done anything meant that he still had a chance to live. Become my servant. Zhao Feng's words were decisive, and there was no room for negotiation. Haha, you're delusional. The one-armed man raised his head and laughed. The spiritual race and the blazing gold race were enemies. If he submitted to Zhao Feng, he would be joining the spiritual race. The spiritual race would definitely not be at ease with him, and the blazing gold race would definitely eliminate this disgrace. But the one-armed man didn't even get to finish speaking. Swish! Zhao Feng blinked to his side and activated his left eye. Afterward, Zhao Feng and the one-armed man vanished from this place. A moment later, the two appeared in another dimension. This was a chain of volcanoes. Majestic palaces had been erected around and on top of the volcanoes. "Where is this? Why did you bring me here?" The one-armed man suddenly roared. He had no memories of this place. It was precisely because it was unfamiliar that he felt fear. At that instant, a scorching pressure that shook the heavens descended upon them. "Lord God," the blood-flamed Chelan race patriarch appeared next to the one-armed man and then respectfully gazed at Zhao Feng. "This is you are the Lord." "Lord God?" The one-armed man stared in shock at the blood-flame Chelan race patriarch's strength, and then he stared in shock at Zhao Feng. Why would such a terrifying expert refer to Zhao Feng as the Lord God? "Lord God?" The one-armed man suddenly thought of something, and his face twisted in shock. He stared at Zhao Feng's left eye, his eyes wide and mouth agape. "Don't let him die. Anything else is up to you," Zhao Feng casually said. "Yes." The blood-flame Chelan race patriarch immediately gave a savage smile. A moment later, a majestic energy that could seal the heavens wrapped around the one-armed man, freezing his bloodline, divine power, and mind. He was unable to resist. "Where is the item I ordered?" Zhao Feng asked. "Here." The snow-faced Chelan race patriarch took out a small red bottle. Swish! Zhao Feng took the bottle and left the ancient dream realm. In the ancient, desolate realm of gods, the place where Zhao Feng and the one-armed man had fought was still burning with black and golden flames. The terrifying aura and scorching heat made all the nearby living beings afraid to approach. Swish! The black destruction serpent dragon suddenly appeared. Master was right. There really was someone. The black destruction serpent dragon swiftly left. In his battle with the one-armed man, Zhao Feng's left, I had noticed the other members of the Blazing Gold race. They did not have very high cultivations, so they were probably the one-armed man's subordinates. In order to not expose his strength and some of his trump cards, Zhao Feng had moved the battle to the space-time robe. Far away from this fiery land, for figures were hidden in the outskirts. Who is that black-scaled man? It's not Zhao Feng, nor is an ancient god of my race. Only after leaving this place did Zhao Feng emerge from the space-time robe. After putting on the white cloak, he continued on his way. Did something happen to the spiritual race? Zhao Feng muttered. As he passed by many factions in the territory of the spiritual race, he sensed that these factions were abnormally tense. A little more than a month later, Zhao Feng smoothly returned to the spiritual race. Zhao Feng's back. Zhao Feng's appearance caused a stir among the workers, peripherals, and inner disciples. Zhao Feng, in the future, don't leave on your own. You are now the genius of the Xiling Zone, and many factions might try to assassinate you. In the sky, the ancient gods of the spiritual race immediately warned him. They had only learned that Zhao Feng had appeared in the life-sacred land and learned that Zhao Feng had already left. Zhao Feng, in a month, the spiritual race will distribute pure spirit sacred water. You just broke through, so this sacred water will be of enormous benefit to you. Don't miss out on it. Ancient God, floating spirit, slowly said. Got it, Zhao Feng casually said before returning to his residence. It seems like he didn't accept the life-sacred land's invitation. The ancient god elders glanced at each other in silence. When they learned that Zhao Feng had appeared in the life-sacred land, their first thought was that Zhao Feng had abandoned the spiritual race and chosen the sacred land. But the result was completely unexpected. Upon returning to his residence, Zhao Feng prepared to contact Zhao Yufei, but he realized that her palace was isolated by an array. It was clear that Zhao Yufei was in seclusion. Swish! Zhao Feng took out a small red bottle. This is the bloodline of the blood flame Chelan race. I wonder how effective it is. Zhao Feng impatiently opened the bottle, poured out some blood-colored liquid, and smeared it on his arm. Zhao Feng then entered a cultivation state, activating his ancient blood devil sun bloodline to absorb and refine this blood-colored liquid. Cackrack! In a flash, the blood-colored yang flames on Zhao Feng's body more than doubled in size. The blood-colored flames twisted and contorted as if they were in a struggle. After a long while, When the blood-colored liquid on Zhao Feng's arm was completely gone, he opened his eyes. With just this little bit, my ancient Blood Devil Sun bloodline has moved up 10-some ranks. There weren't many ancient bloodlines that could fuse with Zhao Feng's bloodline, and the Blood Flame Qilin race was one of them. Right, there's still 10-some days before the spiritual race distributes the pure spirit sacred water. Zhao Feng suddenly thought of something, but he still didn't know what this pure spirit sacred water was. Chapter 1276. Zhao Feng didn't know anything about the pure spirit sacred water, so he could only ask someone else. But he didn't know many core disciples, so he went to find the inner disciple Pan Hao. Brother Zhao Feng, what business do you have with me? Pan Hao was rather reserved. This was because Zhao Feng had become the most dazzling genius of the spiritual race with a single leap. This made Pan Hao feel a sense of awe. He was well aware of the massive gap between him and Zhao Feng. How much do you know about the spiritual race's pure spirit sacred water? Zhao Feng asked. The spiritual race's pure spirit sacred water is best used after a breakthrough. You broke through to rank 6 of the heavenly divine realm in an instant. So the effect of the pure spirit sacred water on you is many times greater than normal. Pan Hao began to explain to Zhao Feng. In summary, the pure spirit sacred water could stabilize a divine stage, purify divine power, and expel impurities from the divine body. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled. He hadn't thought much of it before, but now that he heard about it, he was extremely interested in the pure spirit sacred water. If he took some pure spirit sacred water after each breakthrough, his cultivation would almost immediately stabilize, and it would also be of great assistance to his growth. Every faction has its own unique resources. The spiritual race's pure spirit sacred water is equivalent to the life sacred land's pool of life, unique and unmatched. Zhao Feng gained a deeper understanding of this. In truth, the distribution of the pure spirit sacred water was originally supposed to be 5 years from now, but it's being brought forward. Pan Hao continued. As it turned out, the distribution of pure spirit sacred water was once every 10 years. However, the early distribution of the pure spirit sacred water was most likely because of Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's sudden breakthrough to rank 6 of the spiritual race was simply too large of a gap. Moreover, Zhao Feng had refused the offer of a disciple from the upper echelon of the spiritual race. Without the guidance of a master, the spiritual race feared that Zhao Feng's impatience would cause his foundation to become unstable and waste his talent. So it had decided to distribute the pure spirit sacred water ahead of time. But because it was distributed ahead of time, there were fewer spots. Zhao Feng nodded. The spiritual race had treated him well, so his refusal of the life sacred land's invitation hadn't been in vain. So that's how it is. No wonder they are all in seclusion. Zhao Feng had wanted to look for Kong Dai and Yuan Long, but they were both in seclusion. I wonder if I can obtain the pure spirit holy water. Pan Hao shook his head and sighed. The pure spirit sacred water was only meant for spiritual race disciples between rank 4 and rank 7, and Pan Hao was only a rank 3 true god. He didn't even have the right to fight for it. As long as I work hard, I will definitely be able to obtain it. Zhao Feng patted Pan Hao on the shoulder, and Pan Hao nodded vigorously. After chatting for so long, he realized that Zhao Feng was still the same old Zhao Feng. Even though his status had risen, his attitude toward him hadn't changed in the slightest. I look forward to the day when you can also enter the core ranks, Zhao Feng said seriously, and then took out a few cultivation treasures. Pan Hao nodded. Originally, he didn't have much interest in cultivation. However, Zhao Feng's shocking actions had ignited his fighting spirit. Now, he was extremely diligent in his cultivation. Pan Hao was so excited that he didn't know what to say. The cultivation treasures that Zhao Feng had taken out were all meant for rank 5 true gods and above, and there were even some that were extremely beneficial to rank 6 true gods. Even if he had a high status in his own race, he still wouldn't be able to obtain these treasures. The two chatted for a little while longer before parting ways. Pan Hao was in a hurry to go back and cultivate while Zhao Feng planned to go take a look at the spiritual race's All-Spirit Hall. All-Spirit Hall was where the spiritual race stored their techniques and combat skills. Ever since Zhao Feng broke into the ancient god level, he hadn't been able to find a suitable technique. But the moment Zhao Feng arrived, the guardian elder of this place appeared and told Zhao Feng that if he wanted a spiritual race technique, he would have to use contribution points to exchange for it. When Zhao Feng was a periphery disciple, he had done some missions, so he had some understanding of contribution points. How many contribution points does a technique suitable for an ancient god cost? Zhao Feng asked so that he could get an idea. 100,000 to 200,000. The guardian elder's words caused Zhao Feng's heart to thump. Zhao Feng then left the place. When he was a periphery disciple, he had done a few missions for around 100 contribution points. Although he was now a core disciple and could receive higher-level missions that gave him more contribution points, he had no idea how long it would take him to gather more than 100,000 contribution points. All-Spirit Hall just happens to have a technique that cultivates the 5 elements and can allow one to break into the God Lord level. 500,000 contribution points. Before leaving, the guardian elder messaged Zhao Feng. A technique for breaking into the God Lord level. 500,000? Zhao Feng instantly understood and couldn't help but click his tongue in astonishment. Only now did he realize just how precious a technique suitable for an ancient god was. Even the more ordinary ones cost more than 100,000 contribution points and could only be cultivated to rank 9 at most. Techniques that could be cultivated to the God Lord level were practically priceless treasures. There's no rush. I just broke into rank 7, so I still have time to find a technique, Zhao Feng helplessly said. Upon returning to his residence, he immediately activated the defensive array of the palace and entered the space-time robe dimension. There's no rush to raise my cultivation level. I'll first raise my intents. Zhao Feng made up his mind. He had many intents. The stronger ones were 5 elements, wind, lightning, and space-time intents. Of these intents, only metal, lightning, and space intents had reached level 5. The rest were at level 4, and time intent was only at the peak of level 2. Zhao Feng took out many 5 elements intent crystals and began to comprehend 5 elements intent. He also used a space-time robe to cultivate space-time intent. This was his internal comprehension. Externally, Zhao Feng continued to use the Blood Flame Qilin race bloodline to strengthen the ancient Blood Devil Sun bloodline. After more than 100 days, Zhao Feng concluded his cultivation. My 5 elements intent and wind lightning intent have all reached level 5, and my time intent has reached level 3. Zhao Feng was rather satisfied with the results this time. His 5 elements intent had all reached level 5, giving him a significant boost in strength. Of course, the main reason his intents had advanced so quickly was that Zhao Feng's cultivation level was too high. Ever since he had broken through, he had not spent much time raising the level of his intents. For example, if Zhao Feng wanted to comprehend an ordinary intent, he would only need a few days to gain a basic understanding of it. Today should be the day the pure spirit sacred water is distributed. Zhao Feng walked out of the palace. Brother Feng, you've finally come out. Today is the day the pure spirit sacred water is distributed. Outside the palace, Zhao Yufei had been waiting for a long time. The two then went to the central plaza where the core disciples were gathered. There were 4 round fighting platforms in the central plaza, and a large number of spiritual race disciples had gathered around each platform. Look at Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei. I'm so envious. A talented man and a beautiful woman. A perfect match. The arrival of Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei instantly attracted everyone's attention. Zhao Feng was the most dazzling genius of the spiritual race, and Zhao Yufei was the #1 beauty of the spiritual race. Her talent was also #1 among the female disciples of the spiritual race. A few inner disciples were filled with admiration and adoration for Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei. A few of the more powerful core disciples had cold and hostile expressions as they looked at Zhao Feng. His strength is unfathomable. Only True God Nu Ji and True God Ji Gang, who had fought with Zhao Feng, felt a deep respect for him. He's Zhao Feng. Jin Wei's older brother, Jin Kuan, had a cold and harsh light in his eyes. He had been looking for a chance to challenge Zhao Feng for some time, but Zhao Feng just so happened to be absent. Now, however, this was the contest for the pure spirit sacred water, and his cultivation wasn't on the same level as Zhao Feng's. Zhao Feng, he's the one who became a rank 6 true god? A handsome youth with an icy face indifferently glanced at Zhao Feng. What? Ancient god Ice Origin isn't planning on attacking him, is he? A rank 7 ancient god of the spiritual race joked. These words immediately caught the attention of the other people in the crowd. Ancient god Ice Origin was the strongest prodigy of the previous generation. He had only just become a rank 7 ancient god, but he was already capable of defeating ordinary ancient gods of the spiritual race. The spiritual race had high hopes for ancient god Ice Origin, and he was one of the experts most likely to pursue Zhao Feng. Alas, even ancient god Ice Origin was rejected by Zhao Yufei without hesitation. And now, the man that Zhao Yufei favored had broken into rank 6 and become the strongest genius in the history of the spiritual race. Anyone below the ancient god level is an ant. Ancient god Ice Origin's face was cold and arrogant. As expected of a 5-star faction, there are more than 10 rank 7 ancient gods here. Zhao Feng examined the area around the rank 7 ancient god stage. These ancient gods were all rather young. The spiritual race probably had quite a few ancient gods that were no longer disciples, so they naturally couldn't compete for the pure spirit sacred water. Damn, this brat is ignoring us. Around the rank 6 true god stage, a tall and muscular youth with arms as thick as an ape's grumbled in dissatisfaction. Zhao Feng was a rank 6 ancient god, but when he arrived, he immediately looked at the rank 7 ancient gods. This made the rank 6 ancient gods believe that Zhao Feng wasn't even treating them as opponents. Not long later, more and more spiritual race disciples gathered on the plaza. Almost everyone was present except for a few who were out on missions and unable to return. The distribution of the pure spirit sacred water this time was brought forward, so the number of spots will be halved. Do your best. A loud voice suddenly rang out. Everyone at the scene immediately quieted down. The elder presiding over this contest was a highly respected elder of the spiritual race. He was also extremely powerful. Of course, there were also other upper echelon members of the spiritual race secretly watching this contest. After this contest, I will make another announcement. The ancient god elder solemnly said. The crowd immediately began to speculate. Something that could be announced in front of so many disciples of the spiritual race could not be a minor matter. Now let the contest for the pure spirit sacred water begin. The moment these words were spoken, the crowd down below was thrown into an uproar, all of them finding it hard to conceal their excitement. Whoosh! The 4 elders suddenly arrived at the 4 corners of each challenge stage. Before the start of the battle, the participants on each fighting platform would draw lots. Now, according to the order in which the lots were drawn, the matches will begin. Each person will have to fight against everyone else, and they will be ranked based on the number of wins. The moment the announcer made the announcement, a tall and muscular youth like an ape stepped onto the stage. Who's my first opponent? Hurry up and come up. The youth roared, his eyes brimming with arrogance. I didn't think that Bao Yuan would be number 1. I wonder who his opponent will be. He's going to suffer. The crowd began to chatter. Bao Yuan was a peak rank 6, one of the strongest experts on this stage. Swish! Swish! Zhao Feng blinked and appeared in front of Bao Yuan. The crowd instantly fell silent. Chapter 1277. It's him. Bao Yuan's lips twitched. He had been angry at Zhao Feng for only paying attention to the ancient god battlefield of the spiritual race and ignoring the rank 6 true gods. However, He really wasn't confident that he could defeat Zhao Feng in a direct confrontation unless Zhao Feng fought a few more battles and exhausted himself. Aha! I didn't think that Bao Yuan and Zhao Feng would be number 1 and number 2 respectively. Let those two formidable fellows fight to the death first. This way, our chances of victory will be even greater. That's true. The more intense their fight, the better. Quite a few core disciples couldn't help but snicker. My number is at the back. As long as I conserve my strength and wait for Zhao Feng to exhaust himself in a few battles, I might be able to defeat him, Zhang Yutong quietly said to himself. After being defeated by Zhao Feng, he had put even more effort into cultivating and had gotten much stronger. Moreover, he had made ample preparations this time. I wanted to fight you for a long time, Bao Yuan bellowed. Since he couldn't avoid it, he couldn't lose in terms of momentum. I hope that you have the right to fight me. Zhao Feng faintly smiled. His carefree attitude made many of the rank 6 true gods feel an invisible pressure. Bao Yuan angrily snorted. He hated it the most when others looked down on him. Boom! Bao Yuan activated his bloodline, and his body grew almost 10 times larger, transforming into a massive black ape. At the same time, a dark yellow hammer appeared in his hand. The energy exuded by this hammer was already at the limits of an average-quality divine artifact. But Zhao Feng stood in front of him, his expression unchanged. He did not activate his bloodline or take out a divine artifact. Arrogant people don't live long. Bao Yuan's eyes gleamed with a savage light as he swung his hammer at Zhao Feng. Before the hammer even descended, the world had already turned gray, and an enormous pressure engulfed Zhao Feng. Swish! Zhao Feng activated his sacred lightning body and circulated his 5 elements tribulation, lightning, divine power. Suddenly, the 5-colored lightning turned dark yellow and wrapped around Zhao Feng's fist. Earth Thunder Divine Fist. Zhao Feng nimbly converted the 5 elements tribulation, lightning, divine power into the earth tribulation, lightning, divine power, and blasted it out. Boom! The entire fighting ring let out a deep rumble. Then he heard a dang-dang sound, and the violent ape was forced back 2 steps. Profound of 5 elements. Bao Yuan was shocked. The expressions of the surrounding rank 6 true gods also darkened. Profound meanings also had different levels of strength. A single 5 elements profound was very ordinary, but as a whole, the 5 elements profound was considered one of the strongest profound meanings. The fact that the 5 elements could transform into each other was a unique skill of the profound meaning of formless. Although Zhao Feng's profound of earth was only at the 5th level, with the conversion, the power he could display was comparable to the 6th level. Xiao! After that strike, Zhao Feng turned into a bolt of golden lightning and leaped up. Golden lightning, divine finger. After converting all 5 elements, profound mysteries into metal tribulation, lightning god force, Zhao Feng pointed his finger out. This dazzling bolt of lightning was like an invincible weapon as it shot toward Bao Yuan. Even without a divine artifact, his attack is still this powerful. Bao Yuan grimaced and immediately waved his divine artifact in an attempt to block Zhao Feng's finger. However, the speed of this finger was too fast. Swoosh! A bloody hole appeared in Bao Yuan's shoulder, blood gushing out. Wind Devil Hammer. Bao Yuan saw that the situation was bad and immediately used a combat skill. He waved the giant hammers in his hands crazily, like a demon in chaos. Dark whirlwinds started to blow in the fighting ring. It's time to end this, Zhao Feng said with a bored expression. Swish! Even without the space-time robe, Zhao Feng could still use his powerful space intent to blink at a certain distance. After arriving behind Bao Yuan, Zhao Feng converted all the 5 elements tribulation, lightning, divine power into fire tribulation, lightning, divine power. Heaven incinerating lightning fire. Zhao Feng suddenly attacked, a destructive storm of lightning and fire sweeping toward Bao Yuan. Broom! This palm was like a flame devil of lightning and fire, instantly pulverizing Bao Yuan's power. Bao Yuan's blood seethed, and his body trembled in pain as he was pushed back to the edge of the stage. Only then did he manage to stabilize himself. His attack is even stronger than Bao Yuan's. 5 Elements Intent has always been one of the strongest intents. The rank 6 true gods, after witnessing Zhao Feng's strength, had rather unsightly expressions. If even Bao Yuan had been defeated so easily, what hope did they have? So strong. Bao Yuan knew that he could never defeat Zhao Feng, so he stepped off the stage. After taking a few healing medicines, Bao Yuan sat cross-legged on the ground and began to treat his injuries. In the distant sky, the 3 ancient gods of the spiritual race were observing the battle down below. These 3 ancient gods were different from the ancient gods presiding over the matches. They were stronger and held greater authority in the spiritual race. 5 Elements Intent, and each intent is extremely powerful. His age is also suitable. Choose him. Ancient God Ice Origin's battle has begun. Once Zhao Feng stepped off the stage, the 3rd and 4th participants immediately stepped onto the stage. Look, Ancient God Ice Origin has entered the stage. Ancient God Ice Origin is definitely one of the strongest rank 7 ancient gods. The disciples around the other 3 stages glanced at him, and quite a few female disciples even began to scream in alarm. Zhao Feng also looked over. Ice Crystal Slash. Ancient God Ice Origin wielded a sword of ice. Each of his attacks was like a massive mountain of ice, the frigid pressure almost causing his opponent's bloodline and divine power to freeze. After exchanging less than 10 moves, his opponent took the initiative to admit defeat. After all, the contest for the pure spirit sacred water was ultimately decided by the number of wins. There was no need to fight to the death with several top-class experts. Bao Yuan, for example, realized that he was no match for Zhao Feng. So he immediately conceded and began to recover so that he could deal with the rest of the battle. Zhao Feng focused his attention on the battle between the rank 7 ancient gods of the spiritual race. After all, there was no opponent on the rank 6 true god battlefield that he could take seriously. Bzzz. Zhao Feng couldn't help but activate his left eye. Not a single detail on the ancient god battlefield could escape his eyes, including the flow of divine power in the bodies of the 2 combatants. At this moment, the 2 ancient gods fighting were of similar strength and had been fighting for a rather long time. I've obtained 2 complete combat skills. Zhao Feng faintly smiled. By slightly activating his left eye, he could analyze and deduce the combat skills from his opponent's moves. Almost all of the combat skills cultivated by these ancient god geniuses were high-quality, divine-level combat skills. Although high-quality combat skills weren't as valuable as high-quality techniques in all Spirit Hall, they were still extremely valuable. At this moment, Zhao Feng viewed the battle of these ancient gods as if he was browsing through a collection of combat skills. Sometimes, Zhao Feng would gain inspiration from these combat skills and immediately modify and perfect his own techniques. In contrast to the battles between ancient gods, the battles in the rank 6 true god area proceeded very quickly. After 1 round, Zhao Feng once more took the stage. I concede. This time, Zhao Feng's opponent was rather ordinary and directly conceded. The battles continued, and the duration of each battle continued to shorten. After all, after each battle, a participant's condition would drop a little, and those battles where there was no suspense would be decided in just a few moves. Zhao Feng, come, Yuan Long sternly said. My turn? Zhao Feng was still watching the battles between rank 7 ancient gods and didn't notice. Swish! Zhao Feng's figure appeared on the stage. His opponent this time was Yuan Long. Back when Zhao Feng first met Yuan Long, the latter was able to instantly kill the strongest expert of the continent zone, Demigod Dragon Emperor, with a single hand, and he didn't even look at Zhao Feng. Later on, when Zhao Feng came to the spiritual race, Yuan Long continued to ignore Zhao Feng. For this reason, After Zhao Feng shocked the world with a single brilliant feat, the one who suffered the greatest blow was Yuan Long. But none of this had crushed him. On the contrary, it made him even more courageous, and he had just recently become a rank 6 true god. Windbreak. Yuan Long's eyes were firm as he activated his bloodline power and used his strongest combat skill. Swoosh! Ice storms began to gather around Zhao Feng. These storms grew faster and faster, their screeches piercing the ears of the onlookers. Yuan Long's improved quite a bit. Ancient God Floating Spirit was nearby, watching all this. After all, both of his disciples were participating in this contest. In the middle of the ice storm, Zhao Feng's expression remained the same as he slowly raised his palm and swung it down. A powerful wind and lightning energy suddenly tore through the surroundings. Crack! Yuan Long's ice storm was like a gale encountering a destructive tornado, instantly obliterating it. I lost. Yuan Long jumped off the stage. Zhao Feng said nothing more, his eyes sweeping over the rank 4 true god stage. This stage had the most people around it, almost as many as the other 3 stages combined. This was because rank 4 quasi-gods were also present. The one fighting on the stage at this moment was none other than Zhao Yufei. Her opponent was a veteran rank 4 true god, but in this battle, Zhao Yufei had the upper hand. So strong, Zhao Yufei's strength has become a lot stronger. As expected of the number 1 female disciple of the spiritual race. The nearby disciples watched Zhao Yufei's graceful fighting style. Zhao Yufei, for the sake of the pure spirit sacred water, don't blame me. A gray-clothed man across from Zhao Yufei said with a smile. Swish! 2 swords suddenly appeared in his hands, each of them far superior to ordinary average-quality divine artifacts. Moreover, these 2 swords had the attributes of ice and fire, so when used together, they were extremely powerful. But instead of retreating, Zhao Yufei advanced, her body flashing with an even more dazzling violet luster as her bloodline energy suddenly swelled. What's going on? The gray-clothed man had originally been able to resist Zhao Yufei's bloodline, but now his blood was in turmoil and the divine power in his body was in disarray. What a powerful spiritual race bloodline. Her strength has probably reached the rank 5 quasi-god level. Almost everyone in the crowd was attracted by Zhao Yufei's battle. Yufei's improved so much. Zhao Feng was rather surprised. Based on the observations of his left eye, Zhao Yufei truly had reached the rank 5 quasi-god level. In the sky above the plaza, the ancient gods of the spiritual race were also carefully observing Zhao Yufei's battle. The spiritual race bloodline has become even purer. She's actually reached rank 5 quasi-god. She's already surpassed the strongest quasi-god of the spiritual race. The upper echelon members of the spiritual race were all extremely excited. Although Zhao Feng was extremely talented, he did not have the spiritual race bloodline, and his bloodline was not even worthy of the spiritual race's attention. But Zhao Yufei was different. She was a member of the spiritual race. It seems like my 2 disciples have benefited the most from Zhao Feng's arrival. Ancient God Floating Spirit stroked his beard and smiled. Zhao Feng's arrival had dealt a heavy blow to Yuan Long, forcing him to focus on cultivation and achieve a breakthrough. As for Zhao Yufei, she had always been concerned about Zhao Feng and had too many distracting thoughts on her mind to focus on cultivation. Now that she had nothing to worry about, and in terms of strength, Zhao Feng had left her far behind, her talent and potential could finally be fully displayed. Chapter 1278. After Zhao Yufei used her full strength, the gray-clothed man gradually lost the ability to fight back. After exchanging blows for a few moments, the gray-clothed man conceded. On the rank 4 true god stage, Zhao Yufei's strength was without a doubt the number 1. Once the battle was over, Zhao Yufei turned to Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng gave her a nod, and Zhao Yufei's lips immediately curled into a joyful smile. With Zhao Yufei's battle over, Zhao Feng glanced at his own stage. Zhang Yutong was currently fighting, and he was much stronger than before. Moreover, he had the spiritual race bloodline, making him one of the more outstanding rank 6 true gods. Half a day later, the ancient god battlefield had the fewest people and was nearing its end. It's Zhao Feng's turn again. His opponent is true god Long Yuan. True god Long Yuan was a peak rank 6 true god with the spiritual race bloodline. He was one of the strongest rank 6 true god participants. Up until now, only true god Long Yuan and Zhao Feng had yet to be defeated. Thus, everyone was looking forward to this battle. Please enlighten me, true god Long Yuan seriously said. After saying this, he activated his spiritual race bloodline. His entire body became shrouded in a layer of crystalline light, and a bloodline pressure instantly swept through the area. Swish! Zhao Feng blinked to true god Long Yuan's side and casually thrust out a palm. What speed! True god Long Yuan quickly reacted and circulated his bloodline divine power to increase the defense of Zhao Feng's attack, blocking it. After this palm, Zhao Feng didn't even pause. He blinked to the other side and unleashed another palm. In this entire battle, true god Long Yuan had no chance to attack and could only passively defend. Huh! True god Long Yuan bellowed as he pushed his bloodline power to its limits, ignoring Zhao Feng's attack and unleashing a fierce counterattack. A layer of crystalline light formed an enormous dragon of ice that shot forward. Sky-burning thunderfire. Zhao Feng converted all of his 5 elements tribulation, lightning, divine power into fire, tribulation, lightning, divine power, and struck out with his palm. Rumble. The palm was like a fire of thunder devil that charged out and collided with real god Long Yuan's attack. As for Zhao Feng himself, after striking out with his palm, he rapidly flashed to real god Long Yuan's blind spot and launched a fierce attack. Puff! True god Long Yuan vomited a mouthful of blood and gradually fell into a disadvantageous position. After 3 moves, he admitted defeat. Even true god Long Yuan was defeated. Zhao Feng's speed is fast and his attacks are powerful. Even true god Long Yuan can't do anything to him. Previously, only Zhao Feng and real god Yuan Long had not been defeated. However, real god Long Yuan had been defeated by Zhao Feng. In the clouds, the authoritative figures of the spiritual race watched as true god Long Yuan walked off the stage. True god Long Yuan's talent isn't bad. At such a young age, he's already a rank 6 true god. Alas, Zhao Feng has overshadowed his brilliance. A spiritual race disciple of suitable age. Choose him. The 3 ancient gods discussed with each other. This round quickly ended, and in the next round, Zhao Feng's opponent jumped onto the stage with a complicated expression. It's Zhao Feng's turn again. His opponent is Zhang Yutong. The voices around the stage were rather low. Everyone knew that when Zhao Feng broke into the true god realm, the two had fought, and Zhang Yutong had been defeated without any suspense. However, Zhang Yutong was a genius of the spiritual race of this generation and had an extremely high status. Many people of the same level feared him. On the stage, the 2 sides did not speak and immediately attacked. He's not injured in the slightest, and he didn't use much energy. The moment they clashed, Zhang Yutong understood Zhao Feng's strength. Afterward, Zhang Yutong gave up on attacking and began to defend, dodge, and contend with Zhao Feng. The spiritual race bloodline had an innately powerful defense, and if he suppressed his strength and didn't use any of his trump cards, Zhao Feng would find it very difficult to defeat him. But after exchanging blows for a while, Zhang Yutong's energy suddenly vanished. I'm not a match for you. There's still more battles to come. I need to preserve my strength. Zhang Yutong admitted defeat. Up until now, Zhao Feng had not lost a single battle. His opponents either admitted defeat at the start or conceded after a few exchanges. Although Zhang Yutong had admitted defeat, he was the one who had fought with Zhao Feng the longest. This way, he wouldn't lose too much face. This was a strategy that Zhang Yutong had planned out long ago. Bao Yuan, Zhang Yutong, and true God Long Yuan were no match for Zhao Feng. They weren't even able to injure him. It seems like Zhao Feng will take first place on our side. Quite a few rank 6 true gods had rather heavy moods. Originally, everyone believed that the battle between the rank 6 true gods and Zhao Feng would at least injure Zhao Feng and exhaust him. Perhaps in the end, Zhao Feng would lose a match or two. But from start to finish, Zhao Feng had emerged unscathed. I admit defeat. In the next round, Zhao Feng's weaker opponent didn't even step onto the stage before admitting defeat. There's probably no need to fight now. Zhao Feng sighed. That brat is so arrogant. Quite a few rank 6 true gods were infuriated by Zhao Feng's words. However, the stronger rank 6 true gods had already been defeated by Zhao Feng. The remaining people were incapable of affecting Zhao Feng in the slightest. By now, the battles between the rank 7 ancient gods were over. In the contest for rank 7 ancient god pure spirit sacred water, first place, ancient god true sea. Second place, ancient god ice origin. The clan elder announced the final ranking in front of everyone. First place was ancient god true sea, an ancient god from several generations ago. He was rather old and had extremely powerful reserves. After defeating ancient god ice origin, he obtained first place. Ancient god ice origin was not even 200 years old. He had defeated many rank 7 ancient gods and only lost to ancient god true sea. Although he was second place, the glory he obtained far surpassed that of first place. This was because everyone believed that it wouldn't be long before ancient god ice origin left first place in the dust. Now that the ancient god battles were over, Zhao Feng began to seriously observe the rank 6 true god battles. First place is me, and second place should be true god Long Yuan. Originally, the victor between Bao Yuan and true god Long Yuan was still unknown. But because Zhao Feng had injured Bao Yuan in the beginning, it affected Bao Yuan's later performance and caused him to lose to true god Long Yuan. After Bao Yuan fought with true god Long Yuan, he fought with Zhang Yutong and lost again. In short, Bao Yuan's luck today was bad. His first match against Zhao Feng had resulted in his poor condition. He actually hasn't lost a single match. Ancient god Ice Origin looked at the rank 6 true god battlefield, his face cold and gloomy. Although he and Zhao Feng had fought on different battlefields, he had lost a match while Zhao Feng had won all of them. This made ancient god Ice Origin extremely uncomfortable. This kid is so strong. I have to defeat him before he breaks through to the ancient god realm. Jin Kuin's eyes twinkled as he mentally made up his mind. Moreover, Zhao Feng had defeated almost all the rank 6 true gods of the spiritual race. If he challenged Zhao Feng, he wouldn't suffer a very miserable defeat. I can see, in this round, Zhao Feng's opponent was a gray-skinned youth, who immediately conceded. Conceding without even fighting? What use do you have? In the distance, ancient god Ice Origin coldly snorted in the rank 7 ancient god crowd. My apologies. The gray-skinned youth trembled as he lowered his head and dodged into the crowd. The battles between the rank 6 true gods were quickly concluded. In the contest for the rank 6 true god pure spirit sacred water, first place, Zhao Feng. Second place, Zhang Yutong. Third place, Bao Yuan. When the result was announced in front of everyone, it still caused a sensation. Zhao Feng truly is the strongest of his level. Perhaps after reaching rank 7, Zhao Feng will also become the strongest rank 7 ancient god of the spiritual race. The spiritual race disciples were all filled with emotion. The contest for the pure spirit sacred water continued. The battle between the rank 5 true gods and the rank 4 true gods quickly concluded. The contest for the pure spirit sacred water is over. I will now announce another important matter. The spiritual race ancient god elder suddenly spoke, his loud and clear voice resounding through the world. Everyone on the plaza felt deep veneration. Before the contest for the pure spirit sacred water, the spiritual race elder had already mentioned this point. Everyone knows that 200 years ago, A heaven crystal fire spirit vein was discovered on the border between the spiritual race and the blazing gold race. For this reason, the spiritual race and the blazing gold race had quite a few clashes, even going to war. The spiritual race, ancient God, solemnly and slowly explained. The spiritual race, disciples, gradually began to understand what was going on. In the ancient desolate realm of gods, other than God crystal mines, there were many special places and ecosystems that could produce strange mines. The heavenly crystal fire spirit vein was basically a high-grade divine crystal mine, but due to the refinement of the powerful mysteries of fire, the purity of the energy of the world, and the divine force inside, was far greater than a high-grade divine crystal mine. Besides that, the heaven crystal fire spirit stones produced by this mine were excellent cultivation treasures for cultivators of the fire Tao. Not only could they advance one's cultivation, they could also increase the level of one's intent. And this mine happened to be located on the border between two five-star factions. They were originally enemies, and this mine could almost decide the future of one side. The two factions had fought countless times over this mine. Some time ago, the two races discussed and decided to use a gambling match to decide how the heaven crystal fire spirit vein should be divided. After saying this, the spiritual race, ancient God, scanned the young disciples below. Gambling match. Ancient God, ice origins, eyes flashed. The two races will each send 10 young disciples to fight, and the heaven crystal fire spirit vein will be divided based on the final result. Thus, I will choose 10 of you to participate in this gambling match. When the time comes, for each opponent you defeat, you will receive 20,000 contribution points. In addition, if you obtain the heaven crystal fire spirit vein, you participants will also receive an additional heaven crystal fire spirit stone as a reward. The upper echelon member of the spiritual race, ancient God, explained everything. 20,000 contribution points and heaven crystal fire spirit stone. The crowd immediately seethed with excitement, the eyes of countless disciples shining with golden light. 20,000 contribution points was an astronomical number to the rank 4 true gods, an unattainable number. Even a rank 7 ancient god would find it difficult to resist the allure of 20,000 contribution points. If you defeat 2 people, you'll get 40,000 contribution points. If you defeat 3, you'll get 60,000. Besides that, there's also the heaven crystal fire spirit stone. Ancient God Ice Origin had a rare look of excitement on his face. Contribution points. Zhao Feng's eyes brightened in interest. Right now, he had long ago cultivated the 5 elemental wind lightning technique and the golden Kuan sacred lightning body to their limits. He urgently needed an ancient god-level technique, perhaps even one that could allow him to break through into the God-Lord level. Otherwise, his cultivation would be stuck at rank 7 ancient god. The most direct way to obtain a technique from the spiritual race was to use contribution points to exchange for it. Besides contribution points, there was also the reward of heaven crystal fire spirit stone. Every single heavenly crystal fire spiritual rock was basically equivalent to a high-grade divine crystal and a cultivation treasure for the laws of fire. Chapter 1279. Don't get happy too early. There are only 10 spots, and there's also a restriction. One cannot be over 200 years old. The spiritual race, ancient god, elder, once more emphasized the rules and restrictions. These words caused many of the spiritual race disciples to shake their heads and sigh in indignation. For true God experts, several hundred years passed in the blink of an eye. Many of the rank 4 true gods present were even older than 200 years. The gambling match between the two races had no restriction on cultivation, but there was a restriction on age. The majority of the people present had not expected this. I'm too old. The first rank 7 ancient god True C, gave a helpless smile. Among all the ancient gods present, he was the oldest. Although he had taken first place in the contest for the pure spirit sacred water, he had no chance of participating in the gambling match. I didn't think that there would be such a restriction. The light in ancient god Ice Origin's eyes intensified when he heard this restriction. He just happened to be 190 years old, and many ancient gods of the older generation were no match for him. In addition, based on what he knew, he was the only ancient god of the spiritual race who was not over 200 years old. It seems like all 10 people on the other side will be defeated by me in this gambling match. Ancient god Ice Origin mentally sneered. The wagered battle between the two clans this time would be his stage. Some of the younger disciples breathed a sigh of relief. The age restriction of 200 years kept the vast majority of top-class experts at bay, giving them a sliver of a chance. But at this moment, the clouds in the sky began to churn as an ancient voice spoke. This old man was watching the contest for the pure spirit sacred water and has already confirmed 5 spots. The moment these words were spoken, a massive illusory image of an old man appeared in the sky. Everyone's eyes were immediately focused on the sky. A few core disciples and ancient god elders of the spiritual race recognized this illusory image as the spiritual race's 5th elder. The moment he finished speaking, the crowd fell into an uproar. It turned out that the upper echelon members of the spiritual race had been secretly observing the contest for the pure spirit sacred water and selecting suitable people. Now that 5 spots had been confirmed, there were only 5 spots left. Ancient god Ice Origin, True god Long Yuan, Zhao Feng, Zhang Yutong, and Bao Yuan. These 5 people can directly participate in the gambling match between the two races. Do any of you have any questions? Up in the sky, the old man's face was old, but he exuded boundless majesty. No, with such a great opportunity, the chosen few would naturally not reject it. Anyone can compete for the remaining 5 spots. The 5th elder of the spirit race continued. Elder, I'll take my leave first to prepare for the wagered battle between the two clans. Ancient god Ice Origin proudly said. His words immediately attracted the attention of everyone present. It seems like ancient god Ice Origin is the only ancient god who is not over 200 years old. Looks like he is the strongest in this wagered battle between the two races. He will definitely bring glory to the spirit tribe. Many of the spiritual race disciples looked at ancient god Ice Origin with unconcealable respect and envy. You may leave. If there's anything you don't understand, you can ask the elders of the spirit tribe. The old man in the sky said kindly. Of the young disciples of the spiritual race, only ancient god Ice Origin had the right to participate in the gambling match. And ancient god Ice Origin himself was also top class in strength. Thus, the spiritual race placed great hopes on him. Zhao Feng and the other 3 also left. After all, they were going to participate in the gambling match between the two races. When the time came, they would be facing the 10 strongest members of the Blazing Gold race. There were still 2 months until the gambling match between the two races. They all wanted to increase their strength a little so that they could obtain a good result in the gambling match. Brother Feng, Zhao Yufei caught up and left with Zhao Feng. Although the gambling match had an age limit, there was no cultivation limit. The remaining 5 spots were mostly filled with rank 6 true gods, and Zhao Yufei had only just reached the rank 5 quasi-god level, so she naturally had no hope. Once the people who needed to leave left, the Central Plaza once more exploded with activity. This was because the competition for the pure spirit sacred water had just concluded, and now was the time to fight over the spots for the gambling match. The gambling match between the two races was in 2 months. If he stayed in the space-time robe dimension, Zhao Feng would have 500 to 600 days to cultivate. Swish! Upon entering the space-time robe, Zhao Wang and the Black Destruction Serpent Dragon were both cultivating. At this time, Zhao Wang had also reached the rank 5 quasi-god level. Zhao Feng sent Zhao Wang into the ancient dream realm and arranged for him to break into the heavenly divine realm. A few days later, a member of the spiritual race delivered the pure spirit sacred water to him. This is the pure spirit sacred water? Zhao Feng's eyes stared at the transparent glass bottle in his hand. A faint blue liquid seemed to have a mind of its own, slowly flowing through it. Without another word, Zhao Feng entered seclusion. The pure spirit sacred water had the greatest effect after one broke through, and it had been some time since he became an ancient god. But before using it, he needed to make a copy. One day later, the copy was complete, and Zhao Feng began to cultivate. Gulp. After taking the pure spirit sacred water, Zhao Feng immediately felt a cool stream of energy flow through his blood and permeate his entire body. In the end, the stream of energy flowed into his divine stages. 20 days later, Zhao Feng's energy gradually began to subside. At this time, even ancient gods of the same level would not be able to determine Zhao Feng's true level of cultivation without careful observation. This was proof that Zhao Feng's divine stages were extremely stable, perfectly fused with his energy, and that Zhao Feng could now completely control his energy. The effects are extraordinary. The effects of the pure spirit sacred water far surpassed Zhao Feng's expectations. In addition, he realized that there was a layer of dark red filth on the surface of his body. This should be the impurities expelled by the pure spirit sacred water when it purifies the divine body and blood. Zhao Feng fell into deep thought. Normally speaking, once one reached the true god level, their divine bodies would have very few impurities. But now, Zhao Feng had expelled so much. The problem lay in his bloodline. It seems like I wasn't careful enough when refining and strengthening my bloodline. Zhao Feng understood. His bloodline was originally very low level, but it was now ranked within the top 1,000 of the 10,000 ancient races. The difference was far too great. At the same time, there were many impurities left in his bloodline that had not been refined or expelled. Once I expel these impurities, my bloodline should be able to strengthen even faster. Zhao Feng mentally smiled. He had experienced the effects of the pure spirit sacred water, and with his duplication ability, he could mass produce it. Of course, it was best not to expose this point. After using the pure spirit sacred water, Zhao Feng went to the ancient dream realm. At this time, Zhao Wang was in the middle of breaking through to the heavenly divine realm and had just formed his first divine stage. Because Zhao Feng's control over the ancient dream realm had greatly increased, there were no phenomena in the outside world this time. Zhao Feng asked for some blood from the blood flame Qilin race before leaving. In the space-time robe dimension, Zhao Feng activated his ancient blood devil sun bloodline and continued to refine his bloodline. Now that the impurities have been expelled, the effect of the refinement has greatly increased. Zhao Feng rejoiced. 2 months later, Zhao Feng's ancient blood devil sun bloodline had almost reached the top 500 of the 10,000 ancient races. This astonishing improvement delighted Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng began to comprehend the various intents, and he also began to learn another space-time secret skill, spatial shift. Spatial shift was essentially the same as instant movement, but spatial shift focused more on distance, increasing the distance one could travel to. A single instant movement could cover several 100,000 li, but a single spatial shift could cover at least 10 million li, equivalent to a short-distance teleportation array in the ancient desolate realm of gods. The requirements for teleportation were very high, requiring at least the 6th level of the profound of space. Zhao Feng's space intent had reached level 5, and with the space-time robe's amplification, he had reached level 6, meeting the requirements for spatial shift. At present, Zhao Feng could only comprehend the essentials of spatial shift and simulate it in his mind. Only after 500-some days had passed in the space-time robe did Zhao Feng emerge from his seclusion. At this moment, other than the powerful spiritual race elders, there were also several young disciples participating in the gambling match. 4th elder, 5th elder. Zhao Feng was startled. For the spiritual race, to have these 2 experts lead the gambling match, it seemed like he had still underestimated the importance of the Heaven Crystal Fire Spirit Vein. Zhao Feng began to observe the people participating in the gambling match. The few people who had already been confirmed felt much stronger than before. Hurry up! Ancient god Ice Origin glanced at Zhao Feng, his brow creasing in displeasure. As the youngest ancient god genius of the spiritual race, he was the trump card of this gambling match. An ancient god Ice Origin felt a little resentful and jealous of Zhao Feng, a genius who had directly become a rank 6 true god. This wasn't just because of Zhao Feng's terrifying potential to become a rank 6 true god in a single step, but also because Zhao Yufei, whom he had bitterly pursued, had thrown herself into Zhao Feng's embrace. Zhao Feng ignored him and walked into the crowd. After a few moments, everyone had basically arrived. Elder, we can set off. Ancient god Ice Origin walked to the very front, acting like the leader. The spiritual race fourth elder nodded. Swish! A moment later, a beautiful warship of blue and white appeared in the sky. The group immediately boarded the warship and began to set off. Wish! The warship activated a protective barrier around it, and then it transformed into a streak of light and vanished. This gambling match is extremely important. All of you must bring out all your skills. The fourth elder looked at the crowd and instructed. The Heaven Crystal Fire Spirit Vein was extremely valuable, and this vein was tied to the glory of the two races, even affecting the future of the two races. This vein was even more useful to the Blazing Gold race. Once they obtained it, they would be able to surpass the spiritual race within 1,000 years. The participating disciples nodded. Over the last 2 months, they had received the personal guidance of the spiritual race elders, and they had even paid an enormous price to improve the weapons in their hands. Next, I will tell all of you about the rules of the wager battle this time. The two races would each send out 10 people to take turns fighting. Once all 10 people on one side were defeated, the battle would be over. The Heaven Crystal Fire Spirit Vein will be divided based on the final number of victories. After each battle, you can choose to continue fighting or rest. Of course, I recommend that you not continue fighting, because when your condition isn't good, you might be challenged by the Blazing Gold race. You can refuse the first time, but you must fight the second time. The fourth elder solemnly said, Elder, be at ease. Based on what I know, the only person on the Blazing Gold race's side is Ancient God Gold Fury, and he's no match for me. Ancient God Ice Origin confidently smiled. This gambling match would be the moment when his name would spread throughout the Xiling Zone. Ancient God Ice Origin was determined to win. Chapter 1280. Elder, be at ease. Based on what I know, the only person on the Blazing Gold race's side is Ancient God Gold Fury, and he's no match for me. Ancient God Ice Origin confidently smiled. He had interacted with Ancient God Gold Fury several times and knew that he was weaker than him. The spiritual race elder gave a slight nod. Based on their understanding, the situation was as Ancient God Ice Origin had described. But this gambling match had actually been proposed by the Blazing Gold race, including the age limit of 200 years. Thus, the upper echelon of the spiritual race was still somewhat worried. Even though the spiritual race had the upper hand on the surface, the spiritual race elders did not relax in the slightest. They put all their efforts into selecting talents and helping them increase their strength in the short term. The early distribution of the pure spirit sacred water was also partly due to the gambling match between the two races. The spiritual race elder divulged some other information about the gambling match. The two races would each send out 10 people to challenge each other. When the battle was over, the spiritual race would have one person left. The Heaven Crystal Fire Spirit Vein would get 60% for the spiritual race and 40% for the Blazing Gold race. If the spiritual race had 2 people left, they would get 70% and the Blazing Gold race 30%. If the spiritual race had 5 people left, the Blazing Gold race would get nothing. This rule had been requested by the Life Sacred Land. The reason was naturally that they hoped that both races could get some of the vein so that the conflict between the two races would worsen. Now, I will explain the order in which you will fight. If there are any special circumstances, it can be changed. The fourth elder announced the order that had already been decided upon. It was best to win the first match, and the person sent out had to be someone with the spiritual race bloodline. Thus, true God Long Yuan could not pass on this responsibility. Number 2 was a woman from another race that Zhao Feng did not recognize. Number 3 was ancient god, Ice Origin. And Zhao Feng was number 5. In summary, the spiritual race elders had placed the strongest people in these 10 positions. This was to prevent consecutive defeats from affecting morale. If any of you have any questions, you can ask us, including questions about cultivation. The fourth elder looked at the 10 people before him and continued. The fourth elder was a peak ancient god expert of the spiritual race and was rarely seen. But now all of them had a chance to ask this peak ancient god for guidance. Elder, I'm still unable to break through to the 8th level of the heavenly lightning earth technique. A dark-skinned young man rushed to ask. The path of cultivation was always filled with countless unknowns. Every time one reached a new height, there would be even more problems. Even ancient god Ice Origin was waiting for a chance for an elder to dispel his doubts. Zhao Feng walked to the side and sat down cross-legged. Currently, he did not have a cultivation technique, and his cultivation had been stagnant. Therefore, he had many doubts and bottlenecks. Even if there was, he would go to the ancient dream realm and ask the Fire Qilin race patriarch directly. Closing his eyes, Zhao Feng began to think of many combat skills and secret techniques. These were the techniques he had derived from observing the battles of others during the contest for the pure spirit sacred water. Zhao Feng's own offensive battle techniques were almost outdated. Now, he was trying to cultivate 1 or 2 of them or modify the battle skills that he was familiar with according to these advanced battle skills. A few days later, 2 huge volcanoes appeared in front of everyone. Everyone on the warship came to the front with excitement in their eyes. These 2 volcanoes were still spewing out a scorching mist of fire. Between the 2 volcanoes was a fighting stage several thousand li wide and wide. Around the stage were 5 spectator stands. When the spiritual race arrived, the people on one of the spectator stands all looked over, their eyes brimming with obvious hostility. They were members of the Blazing Gold race. The spectator stands next to the Blazing Gold race had fewer people, but they had the highest status. They were a faction of the Life Sacred Land. The other 2 spectator stand belonged to the other 2 5-star factions of the Xiling Zone, Divine Triocean and the Heaven-Shaking Alliance. Besides them, the spectators of the smaller factions of the Xiling Zone could only choose a place on the perimeter. They're finally here. I thought that the spiritual race was going to return the Heaven Crystal Fire Spirit Vein to the Blazing Gold race. An elder of the Blazing Gold race, whose body was dark gold and parts of his body were covered in black flame tattoos, spoke in a booming voice. Elder Jean truly knows how to joke. This Heaven Crystal Fire Spirit Vein has never belonged to the Blazing Gold race. The fourth elder chuckled. The moment they met, the leaders of the 2 races clashed. Although the tone of the 2 elders was rather mild, the hostility in their words was extremely obvious. The people of Divine Triocean and the Heaven-Shaking Alliance both smiled and said nothing. The conflict between the spiritual race and the Blazing Gold race had been going on for a long time. If not for the Life Sacred Land suppression, they would have already started fighting. Both of you, calm yourselves. Everything will be decided by the result of the gambling match. At this moment, the manager of the Life Sacred Land spoke up to mediate. Everyone present maintained a certain level of respect for the Life Sacred Land. It's him. Zhao Feng looked at the Life Sacred Land spectator stance. The speaker was none other than Xiahou Wu's master, the Wrinkled Elder. When he went to the Life Sacred Land, he had interacted with this elder the most. Besides this elder, Zhao Feng also saw Quasi-God Guanlong, Xiahou Wu, and Lu Kai. At the same time, these people all turned to look at Zhao Feng. Everyone else was also observing the astral race's battle participants from all directions. The spiritual race and Blazing Gold race both have an ancient god expert, but ancient god Ice Origin should be a little stronger. Look, that youth with dreamy silver hair is that Zhao Feng, whose name shook the Xiling Zone a while ago. His hair and eyes are truly strange. I wonder if it's because of his special bloodline. Everyone's gazes were mostly focused on ancient god Ice Origin, Zhao Feng, and true god Long Yuan. Ancient god Ice Origin was the only ancient god expert and the trump card of the spiritual race. True god Long Yuan was a peak rank 6 expert, his aura faintly approaching that of an ancient god, and his fame had spread far and wide. As for Zhao Feng, it was purely because of his fame that he faintly surpassed the other two, but most of the people present had never personally seen him. He truly is a rank 6 expert. I just don't know if he directly reached rank 6 or if the spiritual race is just spreading rumors. A rather loud voice of doubt came from the blazing gold race. It was true that directly reaching rank 6 was far too shocking. Not even the geniuses of sacred lands could do it, so the majority of people were still skeptical. Zhao Feng. The eyes of the blazing gold race's elder also paused on Zhao Feng for a few moments. Some time ago, the blazing gold race had sent an ancient god to kill Zhao Feng. But afterward, the blazing gold race's ancient god vanished. For some reason, none of the people following that ancient god had seen the battle between the one-armed man and Zhao Feng. And the soul brand that the one-armed man had left in the blazing gold race had not disappeared, proving that he was still alive. But he had not returned to the blazing gold race, leaving the upper echelon members extremely puzzled. Whoosh whoosh. The members of the spiritual race jumped off the warship and landed on their viewing platform. Elder, please be at ease. The spiritual race will definitely win this gambling match. When the time comes, the blazing gold race won't have the face to continue acting so arrogantly. Ancient god Ice Origin whispered to the fourth elder. Although his voice was soft, all the members of the blazing gold race could hear him. Other than the upper echelon members and a few experts of the blazing gold race, everyone else paled in rage. Ancient god Ice Origin, you still like to talk big? The white-robed ancient god Gold Fury sneered. Since the members of the spiritual race have arrived, let's quickly begin. The blazing gold race's elder Gold Fury paid no attention to ancient god Ice Origin's words. These words immediately caused an uproar. It was clear that everyone was extremely interested in the gambling match. This gambling match not only allowed them to witness the strength of the younger generation of the two 5-star factions, the result of this gambling match would also show which of these two opposing factions was stronger and which would faintly determine the future structure of the Xiling Zone. The gambling match between the two races will now begin. The distribution of the Heaven Crystal Fire Spirit Vein will be decided based on the number of people remaining. The wrinkled Elder of the Life, Sacred Land's voice resounded through the heavens. A moment later, the area around the fighting stage exploded with chatter. The spiritual race's true god Long Yuan was the first to step onto the stage. According to the orders of the spiritual race elder, true god Long Yuan was to challenge and defeat a peak rank 6 expert. Only this way could he raise the morale of the spiritual race. After observing for a few moments, true god Long Yuan pointed at a golden-clothed youth of the blazing gold race. Whoosh! The golden-clothed youth of the blazing gold race grimaced, and then he jumped onto the fighting stage. Without even saying a word, the two began to attack. Ding-ding-bang! As soon as the two of them started, they took out their divine weapons. The spiritual race bloodline was skilled in defense, and true god Long Yuan also had an extremely high level of skill in offense. The golden-clothed youth of the blazing gold race was a body-refining cultivator, so his offense and defense were equal. However, the defense of the blazing gold race was still somewhat inferior to the bloodline of the spiritual race. Dragon Elephant Slash. True god Long Yuan swung the saber in his hand, unleashing a wave of crystalline energy that could shake the heavens. The golden-clothed youth of the blazing gold race grimaced, and he immediately activated a secret defensive art. His body glowed with a golden luster, transforming into a mountain of golden flames as he defended with all his might. If nothing unexpected happens, true god Long Yuan will definitely win the first battle. After observing for a few moments, the The spiritual race fourth elder faintly smiled. It seems like we've still lost the first round. A youth of dark gold on the blazing gold races sighed helplessly, shook his head. Isn't this good? Let the spiritual race be happy for a while. Only then can we deal a bigger blow to them. Ancient God Gold Fury carelessly smiled. As long as you don't go too ruthlessly and don't give me a chance to go on stage, it's fine. Ancient God Gold Fury looked at the youth with dark gold skin and joked. At this moment, on the stage, true God Long Yuan activated his bloodline and swung his saber, unleashing countless blades of crystalline energy. The entire stage was covered in a thick layer of white crystalline energy. Boom! Bang! The golden-clothed youth of the blazing gold race was sent flying. The first match goes to the spiritual race. The wrinkled elder of a life, sacred land announced. The crowd was in an uproar. The first match went to the spiritual race, and the spiritual race's ancient god Ice origin seems to be a little stronger than the blazing gold race's ancient god Gold Fury. It seems like the spiritual race will win this gambling match. That's not necessarily true. In a 10-person battle, strategy is extremely important. As long as the blazing gold race has a few people exhaust ancient god Ice origin, ancient god Gold Fury might be able to defeat ancient god Ice origin and reverse the situation. Many of the spectators expressed their opinions. The first match went to the spiritual race. As the second match began, a voluptuous woman of the blazing gold race stepped onto the stage. Chapter 1281. Do you dare to fight with me? The blazing gold race woman stood proudly on the stage and pointed at one of the spiritual race participants. True God Long Yuan. The fiery woman was challenging True God Long Yuan, who had just fought a great battle. True God Long Yuan was a peak rank 6 expert, so he was definitely stronger than this fiery woman. However, True God Long Yuan was heavily injured and exhausted, so he was naturally no match for her. For the sake of the bigger picture, True God Long Yuan refused the challenge and chose to rest. Are the men of the spiritual race all cowards? The fiery woman of the blazing gold race looked at the 10 members of the spiritual race with a derisive smile, her ample breasts trembling. Then come up and fight with me. The fiery woman chose another person. Okay. The moment the fiery woman pointed at Zhang Yutong, he leaped onto the stage. Boom! At that instant, two shocking auras collided with one another. Divine power, stronger than mine. Zhang Yutong's face chilled, and his body trembled. The fiery woman had challenged True God Long Yuan, but the spiritual race refused to fight. The fiery woman mocked and challenged Zhang Yutong. If he didn't accept the challenge, it would truly be rather embarrassing. Moreover, Zhang Yutong was impatient to show off, so he didn't carefully sense his surroundings before stepping onto the stage. From the looks of it, this fiery woman's strength might be a bit stronger than his. Bang! There was an explosion where the fiery woman had been standing. A moment later, the fiery woman of the blazing gold race charged to Zhang Yutong's side. At the same time, she activated her bloodline and put on a black glove on her right hand. A peerless pressure surged toward Zhang Yutong like an erupting volcano. BZZE. Zhang Yutong activated his spiritual race bloodline to resist the fiery woman's attack before counterattacking. Ding ding. Bang. The two fiercely clashed. The fiery woman was like a blazing golden tiger, her attacks ferocious as she pressed forward. Many people present could already tell that the spiritual race was probably going to lose this second match. The 10 members of the spiritual race had rather ugly expressions. Although this fiery woman was not as strong as True God Long Yuan, she was still extremely powerful. I'll take care of her later. Bao Yuan growled, his eyes brimming with fighting spirit. Do your best to heavily injure her and increase her consumption. Ancient God Ice Origin immediately messaged Zhang Yutong. Zhang Yutong furrowed his brows, feeling indignant. Crystal spirit weaponry. Zhang Yutong shouted, and a layer of white mist rose from his body, quickly transforming into all kinds of divine weapons. The crystal weapons around him danced in the air as he attacked, turning the situation around slightly. However, the fiery woman still had a trump card. After a long struggle, Zhang Yutong was finally defeated. However, the woman's condition was not much better. Her entire body was heavily injured. Second match, Blazing Gold Race's victory. The wrinkled elder of the life, sacred land announced. The spiritual race's first representative was extremely powerful and obtained the first victory. The Blazing Gold race did not show any weakness and sent out an expert to obtain the first victory. Both sides aren't showing any weakness. This is going to be interesting. As expected of the two great 5-star forces, they have as many experts as there are clouds in their clans. The spectators from all directions immediately became excited. The fiery woman of the Blazing Gold race chose to rest after defeating one person. Next, the second member of the spiritual race, a rather delicate woman, stepped onto the fighting stage. According to the orders of the upper echelon members of the spiritual race, she had chosen the weakest member of the Blazing Gold race. After a few moments of fierce battle, the delicate woman of the spiritual race won. The spiritual race had lost one match, while the Blazing Gold race had lost two. True God Tian Chuan, you go. The Blazing Gold race's elder Jean called out. Understood. A rather chubby youth of the Blazing Gold race jumped onto the fighting stage. Zhao Feng, do you dare to fight? The chubby youth had a smug smile on his round face. He was the number 1 peak rank 6 expert of the Blazing Gold race. And for this gambling match, the Blazing Gold race had given him a special mission: defeat Zhao Feng. The Blazing Gold race's goal was to make sure that Zhao Feng would not be able to perform in this gambling match. This would not only deal a blow to the spiritual race's reputation, but it would also affect Zhao Feng's personality and lower his future prospects. Zhao Feng is going to fight, but his opponent is True God Tian Chuan. Zhao Feng will probably refuse to fight. After the rather boring second match ended, the Blazing Gold race's True God Tian Chuan challenged the spiritual race's Zhao Feng in the third match. The spectators immediately became excited. Ha! True God Long Yuan softly chuckled. He was rather familiar with True God Tian Chuan. He was the number 1 peak rank 6 expert of the Blazing Gold race. True God Long Yuan himself was an outstanding peak rank 6 expert of the spiritual race, but he couldn't last more than 10 moves against Zhao Feng. Thus, he believed that True God Tian Chuan had made a mistake this time. Then I'll play with you. Zhao Feng faintly smiled as he stepped onto the fighting stage. Zhao Feng had been waiting impatiently for a long time, but alas, he was in 5th place and could not enter the fighting stage early. Defeating one person was worth 20,000 contribution points. When he saw this chubby youth, Zhao Feng felt like he was looking at 20,000 contribution points being delivered to him. Boom! True God Tian Chuan activated his Blazing Gold race bloodline. His body was slowly covered in a layer of golden inscriptions, and a scorching golden flame slowly rose into the air. The Blazing Gold race was ranked 21st among the ancient bloodlines, and it had an enormous effect on Zhao Feng. Blazing Cloud Palm. After activating his bloodline, True God Tian Chuan's body danced as he thrust out his palms. Golden fiery palms engraved with cloud-like patterns surged toward Nie Tian with mountain-toppling, ocean-draining momentum. Water Lightning Sacred Palm. Zhao Feng activated his sacred lightning body and converted his 5 elements divine power into water tribulation lightning divine power. Then, he thrust out a palm. It seems like your luck isn't bad. You're actually skilled in water intent, which counters fire. True God Tian Chuan gave a playful smile as he examined Zhao Feng. For someone who had just broken into rank 6, Zhao Feng was already extremely strong. But True God Tian Chuan was an outstanding peak rank 6 expert, and he could also sense that Zhao Feng's bloodline was extremely low level. Thus, Zhao Feng's defeat was certain. Sacred Golden Light Body. True God Tian Chuan activated his unique physique, and his body instantly began to glow with golden light. This, coupled with his fat body, made him look like a golden Buddha. a physical energy that could suppress all things engulfed Zhao Feng's body. A physical body close to the ancient god level. Zhao Feng's eyes darkened. His sacred lightning body had no advantage over true god Tian Chuan's physical body. Boom! After activating his sacred golden light body, true god Tian Chuan was like a massive golden mountain that crushed toward Zhao Feng. Body refining experts were naturally skilled in close-quarters combat. True god Tian Chuan was about to send Zhao Feng flying with blazing flames. Swish! Spatial blurs appeared around Zhao Feng's body. A moment later, his body vanished from true god Tian Chuan's sight. Whoosh! True god Tian Chuan passed through the position Zhao Feng had just been standing at. Behind, true god Tian Chuan's mind trembled. By the time he turned around, Zhao Feng had already fired off a palm. Boom! True god Tian Chuan defended with all his might against Zhao Feng's attack. Water and fire mixed on his body, and mist surged. Space ultimacy. True god Tian Chuan's eyes flashed. Although he was also skilled in space ultimacy, he could not do what Zhao Feng did. Where are you looking? Zhao Feng's voice rang in true god Tian Chuan's ears. Boom! Behind true god Tian Xian, a powerful water tribulation, lightning divine power surged. Damn it! True god Tian Chuan was somewhat angry. As a body-refining expert, his physical body was strong, and his attacks were bold and powerful. However, Zhao Feng was skilled in space ultimacy and did not fight head-on with him. I didn't expect Zhao Feng to have such high attainments in space ultimacy. Looks like the outcome of this battle is uncertain. The spectators' stands were in an uproar. Possessing a powerful space ultimacy was equivalent to having the upper hand in terms of speed. This way, Zhao Feng had the means to contend with true god Tian Chuan. You brought this upon yourself. True god Tian Chuan's expression was stern and dignified. Swish! A blood-red saber appeared in his hand. This saber was 1 meter long and was engraved with a lifelike golden dragon. True god Tian Chuan circulated his divine power and activated the saber. In a flash, a bloody flame surged out of the saber and fused with true god Tian Chuan's golden flames, forming an enormous flame dragon that coiled around true god Tian Chuan's body. This energy, it's a high-quality, divine artifact. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed. It seemed like the blazing gold race had placed high hopes on true god Tian Chuan, giving him a high-quality, divine artifact. With his cultivation suppressed, Zhao Feng would find it very difficult to defeat a peak rank 6 true god. And now, true god Tian Chuan had taken out a high-quality divine artifact. Heavens, it's a high-quality divine artifact. This time, Zhao Feng's defeat is certain. The crowd was in an uproar. Quite a few of the spiritual race participants began to worry. They all knew that Zhao Feng didn't have much of a background in the past. In the many days that they had interacted with Zhao Feng, they had never seen Zhao Feng take out a decent divine artifact. But now, true god Tian Chuan had taken out a high-quality divine artifact. This meant that his fighting power was probably on the level of a rank 7 ancient god. Since that's the case, let's end this. Zhao Feng's energy slowly began to weaken. Conceding? True god Tian Chuan believed that Zhao Feng had given up and couldn't help but sneer. But in the next instant, Zhao Feng's dreamy silver left eye unleashed a powerful surge of eye intent. Zhao Feng's hair fluttered in the air, each strand of silver flowing with various colors. Tribulation lightning eye flame. Zhao Feng's eyes focused, and a white crystalline lightning flame appeared in his eyes. Cackrack! A dreamy mist flashed past, and then true god Tian Chuan's soul suddenly exploded. This is True god Tian Chuan had no time to react before the pain overwhelmed him, and he even dropped the high-quality divine artifact in his hand. Boom! Bang! Zhao Feng followed up with a palm, sending true god Tian Chuan flying off the stage. True god Tian Chuan had been defeated. Hiss! The crowd was deathly silent. True god Tian Chuan, who had taken out his high-quality divine artifact and held the absolute advantage, was instantly defeated. How could this be? His eye bloodline is so powerful. It actually instantly killed true God Tian Chuan. This eye is no weaker than a descendant of the 8 great god eyes. The area around the stage instantly exploded with a deafening uproar. Everyone was stunned by this heaven-shaking reversal of the battle. The spiritual race had lost 1 match, while the blazing gold race had lost 2. The spiritual race's ancient god ice origin was even stronger than the blazing gold race's ancient god gold fury. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.